good if we can start off. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Honorable Shri K. Padmanabhaya, Chairman of ASCI, Board of Governors, and Honorable Dr. Nirmala Bagchi, Director General, Administrative Staff College of India. Due to busy schedule, they have been not present in the today's webinar. And today's plenary keynote speaker, Revered Professor Aman Agarwal, Professor of Finance, Dean, Director, Indian Institute of Finance, Executive Editor, Finance India, esteemed Shri Srikant M. K. Deputy General Manager, Securities Exchange Board of India, most admirable Dr. Syed Imtiaz Hassan, Head Department of CS and IT, Maulana Azad National Urdu University, respected Dr. Wali Manikam, Director, Training and Placement, ASCI, esteemed dignitary, Mr. Venkatakrishna Emani, valued teaching fraternity, admired participants, revered colleagues, press and media, and my dear ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. With great joy and immense exultation, all of you. It's indeed a tremendous privilege to extend my warm welcome to all this special event, a national webinar on cryptocurrencies, issues and challenges. I, Dr. Muhammad Mujahid Ali, Faculty of Finance, Center for Management Studies, Administrative Staff College of India, wholeheartedly welcome you all for this webinar. So today's title is cryptocurrency. So cryptocurrency is the buzzword. The prefix crypto refers to the fact that cryptography is used to generate or authenticate transactions. The total number of cryptocurrencies is at 17,436, and the total number of crypto exchanges is 458. Cryptocurrency is defined as the decentralized system where transactions are authenticated by participants themselves by consensus. They are designed to bypass the financial system and all its control. They cannot be traced or confiscated or frozen by government. So they are anonymous. Transactions are verified, but not purpose of counterparties of the transaction. So cryptocurrency is designed to be a currency, but does it really function like a currency as we understand it? So firstly, currency always has an issuer, usually a trusted entity like the sovereign. Even when the gold is used as a currency, the gold coins had to be issued by sovereign entity. Secondly, historically, a currency has always been either a commodity with intrinsic value or a debt instrument. Cryptocurrencies do not confirm this understanding of currency as they do not have an issuer. They are not an instrument for debt or commodities, nor do they have any intrinsic value. Currency needs trust. Not everything that can be trusted is a currency. So even if technology provides the trust for cryptocurrencies, they can at best perform the role of a currency. So in this regard, the main objective of this webinar is to bring the awareness about the cryptocurrencies among the masses of our country so that they can take the informed decisions regarding this currency. So I once again welcome you all for this event, webinar on cryptocurrencies, issues and challenges. So we have stalwarts and legends to speak on this issue. So I will not take much time on this particular topic. So we will leave this forum to the experts and the legends who have come today to deliver us about the various issues and challenges of cryptocurrency. So before I proceed, I would like to invite Dr. Valli Manikam, Director of Training and Placement, Administrative Staff College of India, to give the inaugural address. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ali. As the Dean of Training Programs, I would like to welcome all the participants to today's webinar. I think this webinar is a very, very important topic is being discussed on crypto, the currencies, the issues and challenges. I'm sure that all of you are reading in the papers about the various issues that are there in cryptocurrency. And we have three very, very important people here to discuss about this topic. I am a non-finance person. I will not like to get into the issues as I don't understand the finance. I may understand cryptocurrency being from an IT background, but I certainly don't understand the finance and related issues. But I see that I would like to first congratulate Dr. Ali. I see about a large number of participants here in today's webinar. We have about 250 plus. That itself is enough to talk about the importance of this particular webinar that is happening. And also I would, for the benefit of all those who have joined, yes, some of you may be from ASCI, some of you must be knowing ASCI very well, but yes, I find that there are a lot of other people who have joined from various other organizations. So yes, I know I'm standing between the experts and the topic, but I would be failing in my duty if I don't talk about ASCI itself. I think we are aware that ASCI was the first of its kind institution established about 65 years back. We have a very rich heritage and tradition of training very senior bureaucrats to scientists to people in the financial sector. We've had IES, ISS officers, etc. Come in for training here at ASCI. We have done programs exclusively for finance officers, government officers of Madhya Pradesh, Assam, just to name a few states. We have also done international tours with them to give them the international best practices on the topic of finance. So finance is one area where ASCI has been leading in various aspects. And in fact, we have a very close relationship with the Finance Commission. We had done a report for the 13th Finance Commission about a decade back, and we had got a grant based on our report and the establishment of a full center to look into innovations based on a small report that we had done from the economics and finance area of the college. I can go on, but these are some of the flagship works that we have done in the college. I would just like to also mention two things here. One is, apart from the work that we do for various government organizations, for various private organizations, and the training programs, 200 plus programs that we conduct in a year, online, face-to-face, hybrid. We have two very important flagship programs of the college, which are recognized by AICTE. We have a program for the PGDM program, and I'm sure my colleague Dr. Venkat Imani will be explaining about this program a short while from now. But we also have a program on hospital management, and currently this program that Dr. Ali is conducting is under the aegis of the postgraduate diploma in management. A big kudos to the entire team of PGDM who have been able to garner this number of nominations from across the country. Kudos to Dr. Ali and his team, and also to the entire PGDM fraternity for having been able to, first of all, think of conducting this webinar on the online platform on such an important topic, and also get so many registrations in probably the short time that they have had to actually send out flyers with reference to the webinar. I would also take this opportunity to not just thank the PGDM team here, but also to thank our experts. Very eminent professors have joined in here to be discussing about topics that are extremely relevant to today's space. And I'm sure that this webinar that we are conducting would be extremely useful to all of you all. Maybe the next 1 hour that we are going to spend on the topic specifically by Professor Aman Agarwal, and the next probably hour and a half that we are going to spend wherein Dr. Hassan and Shrikantji are going to debate on the various issues that are there on cryptocurrency. I'm sure is going to make an impact on all our lives in terms of understanding this topic better. I sincerely hope that this will be a useful afternoon that you're spending with us. And we hope that we will be able to spread out the message of the issues and challenges on cryptocurrency effectively through this webinar. Thank you all for joining this webinar. And now I would hand it over to Dr. Ali to take the proceedings forward. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. As you rightly said, the main thing was our resource persons who have made this program to sail very effectively. We had total 900 registrations, ma'am, 950 from other countries also, like Ethiopia, India, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and also from different states of India like Andhra Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Tamil Nadu, Chhattisgarh, Delhi, Gujarat, Haryana, territories like Jammu and Kashmir, Karnataka, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Manipur, Odisha, Punjab, Rajasthan, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, West Bengal. So almost we have covered the total pan India. So I really once again thank our resource persons. Because now I would like to request Mr. Venkata Krishna Imani, the placement officer of ASCI, to brief about PGDM program. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Professor Ali, Mujahid Ali, sir, and respected dignitaries, Wali ma'am, who is the Dean of Training Programs at ASCI, Professor Aman Agarwal ji, Shri Shrikant MK ji, and Dr. Syed Imtiaz Hassan ji, and all the distinguished professors, academic fraternity, students, press people, and all of you. A very good afternoon from ASCI. So I'm Venkata Imani. So I'm going to just take 5 minutes of your time. I know it's a little bit not into the main topic, but we just want to familiarize you with what kind of PGDM program we offer at ASCI, so that it becomes a ready reckoner, so that you can look up to this program. So can I share my screen?
Yes, sir.
I think this has to go. Somebody else is sharing. Then only I can share, I believe. So you cannot start screen share, it says, while another participant is sharing.
Okay, I'm stopping. Sir, you just click new share.
No, it's not happening. It's
no, Ali sir, you need to stop your sharing, screen sharing. Then only others can share.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, exactly. I hope you can see my screen, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll quickly run through this presentation, not take a lot of time. So as Wali ma'am had talked about ASCI's legacy, ASCI is established in 1956, and it is a very distinguished institution. We provide education, management training, and research and advisory services to Government of India, various state governments, PSUs, multilateral organizations, and industry at large, including the private sector. And as ma'am had already mentioned, we do more than 200 plus MDPs every year. And this is roughly more than all the IIMs put together. That is what, if you can just count. Participants are across the globe. And we have an alumni of around 1.5 lakh plus people. So you can see the leaders here. You can see Padmanabhaya Garu, former Home Secretary of Government of India, and he is the distinguished chairman of our COG at ASCI. Wali ma'am is seen in this first picture, along with very, very popular top level bureaucrat from the Telangana government, Jayesh Ranjan sir. And in the background, you can see our DG sir and the registrar and other functionaries of ASCI. On the right-hand side photograph, you can see the COG in action. These are our leaders. Some of the participants' profile, you can see it is truly international. You can see various people from various countries coming across. In the second photograph, you can see our KTR Garu, who is actually, all of us know KTR Garu as Honorable Minister for Municipal Administration and IT in Government of Telangana, and incidentally is also the son of the Chief Minister. And we have various participants. You can see that KTR sir is interacting with participants at ASCI on a discussion and so on. These are our distinguished faculty, world-class faculty truly. Then we have testimonials from the most eminent people. You can see Pandit Ji, the first Prime Minister of India, when he visited in 1958, he had made a testimonial. And we have a testimonial from Venkaiah Naidu Garu, who is the current Vice President of India. And in between, you can have several testimonials. In fact, if you walk through the corridors of ASCI, you can see Dr. Manmohan Singh's testimonial and so on. So many of them. And various dignitaries visiting ASCI. You can see the Honorable Governor, Dr. Tamilisai Soundararajan Garu, making actually a lecture, Foundation Day lecture on the 65th Foundation Day lecture. And on the right hand side, you can see Venkaiah Naidu Garu actually interacting with the PGDM students. So he would actually interact with the students also. So nice of him actually. And what an opportunity for the students as well. So distinguished clientele of ASCI, if you can look at this, it's like who's who of all the PSUs and all the top companies in India. Coming to the highlights of the PGDM program, which is Postgraduate Diploma in Management, it is approved by AICTE, and this was started in 2019. Interestingly, you can see that the student profile, right from the start, has been very, very, unbiased in terms of, the demography or geography or the background. So we have representation from almost all the states, and then there is an equal split between the boys and the girls. And of course, ASCI in Banjara Hills campus, where this program is run, has got a tremendous locational advantage. Several other programs in Hyderabad or in other places are offered in places which are like very far away from the city, whereas we are sitting in the heart of Hyderabad. One of the uniqueness of the program is, like we can say, one point is that it offers specialization in the traditional areas of finance, marketing, and HR, coupled with analytics, data analytics, which is actually the niche part of this program. And we have 31 credit and 4 non-credit courses. We have extensive industry interaction. And on the right-hand side, you can see our value statement from the Rig Veda. It's a full-time program. Students are actually accommodated on the campus in the hostels. And then it's quite rigorous in its rigor and its content. So it provides great emphasis on the use of data analytics and artificial intelligence for taking managerial decisions. So this is what is one of the USPs of the program. Then we have global exposure also provided to students by having some participation in programs like the UCLA certified, UCLA certified program. All of you know that it is from the US. So students can also opt for these kind of additional certifications, and they can sit in these kind of programs as well. Yeah, this is about the course curriculum. And some pictures of a snapshot of the infrastructure facilities that we have. the canteen, the cafeteria, the library, and the hostel rooms. In the background is the swimming pool that we have at Bella Vista campus, and Bella Vista campus itself is on the right, which was actually a palace of the Nizams. So it's a heritage structure. Yeah, we have all these facilities on the campus, learning aids, computer-based simulation lab, and we have a beautiful auditorium, which can actually accommodate a lot of people, and residential facilities, in-campus boarding facilities, and Wi-Fi enabled campus. Further on, we have a digital library, and then a lot of extracurricular activities are encouraged on the campus, and so many facilities are provided for sports and games. We have a tennis court, we have a badminton court, we have, you name it, we have it actually. So all these are possible in the heart of Hyderabad. We also have a lot of guest lecture series and public lecture series at ASCI, and the who's who of the top, people from the government of India and various state governments and even the private sector, they visit and they interact with our students, and this happens on a very regular basis at ASCI. Yeah, some more snapshots and some spotlight events where we can see several dignitaries interacting with our students and making public lectures. Coming to the placements of this program, we had a very good placement season in the first batch itself, and then I think normally students talk about the return on investment or ROI part of it, and you're all finance people, so you know that. So this program delivers an excellent ROI. The students had roughly paid around 5 lakhs, and then the mean was almost at 5.68. So within the first year itself, their money was actually, should I say that they could get it back in terms of the mean CTC, and we had the highest at 11 lakhs and the median was at 5.8 lakhs. So all these companies, they had participated in the summer placements and in the final placements as well. This is the batch 1 and 2 for PGTM. And these are testimonials from our students. All these are there on our website. Because I don't want to take long time, I'm just rushing through them. You can visit our website www.ascipgtm.com. Our students from the batch of 2022, and this I have shown you already. And this is the grand finale, the convocation day, when actually students would really like to celebrate and cherish that memory. So this is it. So we have the website www.asci.org.in. That is the website where we can go. And then we have the PGTM website as well. So you can look at that. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity, Ali sir.
Thank you, sir. So thank you so much. Now it's a time for our speakers. So first of all, we have Professor Aman Agarwal ji. He is Professor of Finance. So he's going to talk about the theory of money, wealth, and efficient currency markets, modeling MFI as money supply with cryptocurrencies. So before I hand over the session to Professor Ji, I would like to read his profile. I would like to talk something about him. Professor Dr. Aman Agarwal is Professor of Finance, Dean, Director, Indian Institute of Finance, Executive Editor, Finance India. He has been felicitated by Indian enthroned to chair position of St. Emilion Brotherhood by the heritage city of Bordeaux, France, a special honor and privilege given to the world figures in business, arts, and science. He is honored with ISME Life Fellow Award by Waseda University, International Society for Management Engineers. He is felicitated by nomination of Honorary Doctorate of Finance by University of Karchi, Thema, France, and Honorary Professorship as Professor of Uzbekistan, and in United Nations Karamveer Global Fellowship, Karamveer Chakra Award by United Nations in recognition of his contribution to academics and literature. He is illustrious institutions like Delhi University, Indian Institute of Finance, London School of Economics, Columbia University. He has pursued a specialized program in finance on options, futures, and other derivatives from London School of Economics, and the joint Japan World Bank initiated senior executive program in economic policy management from Columbia University. He is heading as Professor of Finance, Dean International Relations, and Director. He is edited the quarterly referred journal He has served as director of IIF Business. So his in-depth analysis and views appear frequently on radio, TV, newspapers with regard to financial policies, educational, capital markets, and economic scenario of the country and the world. Some of these are all India Radio, Italy, BBC World. To his credit, there are many media links which have been provided. So as time being the constant, so I am not reading out all the credits of Professor Aman Agarwal ji. Professor Agarwal is invited to deliver lectures, chair technical sessions, and deliver keynote address at conferences on various aspects of business management and finance. His interests are international finance, corporate finance, derivatives, financial development, economic growth, banking, global financial system. He has published over 74 research papers in highly technical referred journals, International Review of Comparative Public Policy. He is a gifted researcher, and an excellent speaker. He has organized national and international conferences and chaired technical sessions, presented papers, and participated in over 278 conferences world over, including several universities in USA, UK, UAE, Austria, Australia, Azerbaijan, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, China, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Hungary, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Italy, Israel, Luxembourg, Malaysia, Poland, Portugal, Australia, Philippines, Romania, Japan, Jordan, Singapore, Republic, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Netherlands, Norway, Kazakhstan, Thailand, Tunisia, Uzbekistan, Vietnam. He is a visiting professor to universities in USA, UK, Europe, Latin America, Russia, and South Asia. He is invited member on scientific committees of international conferences and observer to research projects. Sir, we are very much happy that we have you today in our panel. So I really feel that it is a privilege to all of our participants also, and to all of us, that we have a very high credit personality here to discuss about the various issues and challenges. So now I request Professor Aman Agarwal ji to take over the session. Thank you, sir. Thank you for accepting our session.
Thank you, Dr. Ali, to have invited me to address the ASCI's online webinar today, which is organized on the April of 6th. ASCI is not a new institution. I have heard about ASCI from my father. He used to be invited to address the government officers and training programs in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, even early 90s, not late 60s, in fact, beginning with. And so I have heard about ASCI for a long time as my childhood passed by. So it's an old institution. I've known about its contributions. I'd like to thank Dr. Bakshi, Dr. Machikam, who have introduced, and I was very impressed to hear about the development of the PhD PM program being introduced by ASCI also in terms of empowering young youth, only not the government officers, but also the youth of the tomorrow of India. I'll also like to thank my colleagues, Shri Kant, who I look forward listening to, and Dr. Syed Imtiaz Hassanji after my address. Thank you again for having invited me. I would like to share my brief presentation. I have already shared some of the background papers which are there with regard to my presentation with Dr. Ali, and also the PPT of the presentation, which has been shared with Dr. Ali, and that may be distributed amongst the participants at any time as per their convenience.
Yes.
I hope you're able to see my slides.
Yes, sir, now it's visible.
Thank you for confirmation. With this, I would be beginning my address for today, which is on a work which we have been doing from 2015-16 onwards, and have been laying out at various platforms, both in journals, academic journals, in TV channels and newspapers for almost last 6 years or so now. And we are happy that not only Government of India, but even some of the other governments have based their decisions on wanting to undertake this activity of initiating the introduction of the central bank digital currency, as announced by the Honorable Finance Minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharamanji, in the budget 2022 presented on the 1st of February. The work is on theory of money, wealth, and efficient currency markets, modeling M5 as a money supply with cryptocurrencies, which were again, as I said, to be launched by the central bank only. Some of these works can be found on these links, which is on in the website Finance India. In fact, in June 2018, after almost 2 years of reviews and acknowledgements and corrections being done on our work, got finally published in Finance India. And after that, immediately the Reserve Bank of India created a committee to look into creation of the central bank digital currency. Our recent work also, extension of our earlier work, got published in a book by Bala Chandran from World Scientific, who is a professor at NYU, on the economics of cryptocurrencies in terms of using artificial intelligence. And then there have been large number of interviews, I would say almost over 150 interviews in this area, including Delhi Doordarshan, All India Radio, Lok Sabha TV, where we have spoken on these issues. Before I begin, I would like to thank some of my colleagues who have inspired me, have been doing, and the works which we present in my address is based on my works, and the errors and omissions are our own, and not of any of those of institutions where we represent or address. I would also like to thank some of my colleagues who have been very kind to have reviewed my work between 2016 and 2017 and given us their review comments, including a couple of governors of central banks around the world to help us improve our work and findings in terms of what I'm going to be presenting in a few moments from now. Again, we already have seen this conference which we began with, and I look forward to listening to my colleagues from various other institutions across the country. I present my presentation in the following sections. The first, I will introduce you in modeling financial development and economic growth, the relevance and importance of why we need to go about doing it and why do we need the digital currency and so on and so forth, the artificial intelligence in the society, the way it connects, then uncertain time, which is also fostering the need for some of these components. I will not go in details, but only briefly touch on it. Then economics of currency, which is the main subject, money supply, virtual currency, including virtual assets, and briefly on the union budget with respect to the cryptocurrencies or the virtual assets, which has been inculcated in the union budget, and then the conclusion. This is a model which we have been suggesting and proposing almost from 2002 onwards. I've had the honor to deliver this model and a couple of other components on different issues at the Italian Parliament, the Finnish Parliament, Swedish Parliament, the European Parliament, the Uzbek Parliament, and a couple of other government platforms across the globe in the last 20 years or so, where we talk about the fact that these are the three key components: technology, environment, and human capital. An appropriate mix of these three factors, or you may call the factors of production, like the factors, are important to be understood and factored in when you're wanting to introduce sustainable development. Now, this particular model, which I'm going to be speaking about, is actually functional not only at a macro level like a country, but at an institutional level and even at an individual level, a family. And we have test run this particular model on various data studies which we have conducted over the last 15-20 years on various economies and people across the globe. And we're fairly confident. And fortunately, the last 5 years Nobel Prize have actually reconfirmed our firm belief in this model, which is there, which is on following the framework of technology, environment, and human capital, being the key components, inducing sustainable development, bounded by finance, which is my love, and then would lead to employment, growth, and well-being in the society. This is something which we keep focus on. If you really look at the last year's Nobel Prize, which was given to David and Joshua, it was on labor markets and human well-being, on empirical contributions on labor economics for their methods, contributions to the analysis of causal relationship, talks about this component on human capital and the way technology plays a critical role, tangling with the labor framework and all. In fact, another work of ours, which we'll give a reflection on, talks about it. And in fact, Ministry of Labor and Niti Aayog have been looking at the work in terms of creating a labor exchange, quite different from the national labor exchanges which have been existing, more like a stock exchange like the Bombay Stock Exchange, which we will hint on later in my presentation. The one previous to that was given to Paul and Robert, which was on money, common, that is accounts, knowledge and human well-being again for improvement of auction theory, intervention of new auction formats which need to be in place to again build that gap of the three components which we have talked about. The one previous to that was given to Abhijit, Esther, and Michael Kermer, which was on economic empowerment in building human capital for their experimental approach to alleviate global poverty. And again, they talked about the way we need to alleviate global poverty, move on to healthcare facilities, move on to education, and then ultimately improve the living standards and livelihoods of people at large. Again, talking about how do you go about building human capital and connecting them with the environment, connecting them with the technology, and going forward in terms of not only alleviating poverty, but empowering every citizen of this world to go forward in a more healthy and better environment. The one previous to that was by William and Paul, which was again talking about integrating climate, technological innovations, and long-run economic growth curves, which included short-term economic growth curves as well. So again, here it was about knowledge and human well-being. And you can clearly see the three components which we have been talking about for the last 20 years or so being highlighted in this Nobel Prize in specific as well. So if we look at the last 4 or 5 Nobel Prize, clearly an indication. In fact, if you look at the union budgets being presented by India for the last 3 or 4 years, we can also see some of these reflections of the Nobel Prize outlays and something which we have been talking about. Another model which is very critical in terms of financial development growth is the factor of financial development being a factor of inflation and savings together. So most central banks traditionally, and even including Reserve Bank of India, till about 2001 or 2, did target on savings. And that's why we have had a heavy level of savings rate. The tax policies have been in the framework of trying to induce savings as a matter of fact than anything else. And that's where savings have been traditionally by most economies, including India, been a key factor in terms of inducing economic growth or observing financial development. Post 2001-2, we saw the model of Frederick Mishkin on inflation targeting, which the United States tested in the United States economy, being implemented by the Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government, first time in India, by targeting on inflation. And we saw the inflation targeting take place, but then we saw a huge cost to the economic growth and also savings get eroded. Both these factors move against each other. So if inflation is high, savings gets eaten away. If savings is high, the inflation goes down tremendously low. So both going on either sides too much is not good, because if you're saving too much, then you're inefficiently using this big resource which can be utilized. If you are having high inflation, it becomes a huge cost, as is being projected in Sri Lanka today, and the fact where they have 20-25% of inflation. We've seen Turkey and a couple of other countries where similar situations have come up, and we are seeing that kind of a cause fact happening in India with inflation bubbling up as well, and Reserve Bank of India being concerned. But the Reserve Bank of India post 2001-2, and after the inflation targeting was done and they found the results were not good. So 2004-5 onwards, we see that they have also adopted this model in terms of targeting both a mix of inflation and savings in terms of financial development framework. These are some of the works which we have been quoting and which we refer to for people to see and benefit from. And this is something which we have been quoting. In fact, one of the works which I always like to tell people is Chanakya's Arthashastra, also known as Kautilya, written in 350 BCE, that is 4th century BCE. This Arthashastra is available in over 100 languages across the globe and is a work which is valid even today. Adam Smith's work on Wealth of Nations is not valid today, but this work is even valid today. So I would request students of economics or management or finance to kindly consider going through this work. And as I said, it's available in all languages, maybe even in an audio format as well now. But I don't know about the audio, but it is been there in all languages for a long time. And the only difference you need to make is you need to change the word king by the president or the prime minister, depending on who is the leader. And this work gives you a projection, not only from the government's perspective or the king's perspective or the kingsman's perspective or the government official's perspective, but even from a civilian perspective. It writes chapters clearly specifying what a civilian needs to do. And a very key component work in terms of economic growth, financial development, structuring, regulation and structures all throughout. And as I said, that's why I call him the father of economics and not Adam Smith, who has been referred in the past. Some of the recent works which have been done by me and my co-authors who have been there from 2016 onwards in this area. some of which we present today. You see, we are going through a global disequilibrium and interdependence. You can already see the disequilibrium. When we saw pandemic take place, we saw major disequilibrium take place. And then there were countries who were ready to come and help. India helped for the first time United States of America in terms of providing hydrochlorine. And that was something which was critical again. So it was a provision which was made in terms of providing. Then we had flux with oxygen security, and then we had oxygen supplies, oxygen cylinders, oxygen plants being supplied by a large part of the world to India. So there is a kind of interdependence which is critical. Even in terms of loan, like you see Sri Lanka, which is happening, we have been providing and have provided about $55 billion in terms of loan and financial assistance to neighboring countries as a matter of fact, and the Reserve Bank of India accounts for that. And like currently we are providing a 1.5 billion additional credit line to Sri Lanka with the difficulty they are facing, apart from roughly about $1 billion in terms of currency swap plus diesel purchase rights as well. So this is something which is happening, and another 1 billion just provided before. So there is disequilibrium. There is interdependence which has been going on despite disequilibrium, whether it is Ukraine-Russia war, or Sri Lanka, or pandemic, or other scenarios which have happened in the past. So we have been existing in this framework for almost over 3 or 4 decades now, which we have tracked, and we have seen this happen. And certainly interdependence is a much better way to go forward. The key components and issues concerns before governments and even organizations today, and have been there for almost 3 decades now, is growth, unemployment, and labor. Fortunately, India has been growing at a very good pace, the fastest growing economy in the world. Even the unemployment levels have started coming down to about 7.6% now, which is a very good trend. The CMI data came in only 2-3 days back. The labor framework is improving. Certainly a lot of work needs to be done. Irrespective of what is happening, we are having problems in neighboring countries and other places. Pandemic has created problems, and this is a concern for almost all economies across the globe. To establish the balance between need for survival, socioeconomic growth, and the environment discipline which needs to be developed. This has to be done at the back of strengthening financial markets, energy financial markets, interlocking global economic environments, and inducing us better and a stronger central banking and market response systems. Fortunately, India has been blessed with the way the central banks have responded, the way banking and market responses have come in the last 2 or 3 decades. And we are very proud, I can very proudly say that India is quoted extensively worldwide in terms of the way we have been able to manage it so smoothly, despite the world financial crisis meltdown in 2007-8, the IT bubble bust in 2001, 2002, then the economic crisis between 1990s to 2000, despite our own economic difficulty beginning in 1991, where the economy had to be opened up, and then the recent pandemic and other tsunamis which have hit India in the last 10, 15, 20 years. And so we have shown clearly the resilience in terms of going forward and working strongly. And I hail my respect to the central banking and banking framework there. We've had a digital revolution. Everyone is today aware about it. The dividends are also aware. So I don't want to talk too much, but I will give you a reflection in a few seconds from now. The full employment model is also talked about. As I said, the Niti Aayog, Vivek Devroy confirmed that they are looking at this work, including the Ministry of Labor, where we received a confirmation letter where they're looking at, apart from 4 other countries which are looking at this work in terms of creating a stock exchange, where we say labor is number of hours, technically speaking, and it is the wealth. It is a self-regenerating wealth, as against breaking all labor theories of the past, talking about it as a wealth which self-generates itself. This conference is taking place, organized by Dr. Ali and ASCI. Large number of people, about 300, 400 people are already joined in, 400 plus. So they are going to be benefiting. At the end of the day, they would have a little better edge on listening to these 3-4 people who are speaking today. And then that is going to add up to their efficiency and performance going forward. So that's where it's the labor, the hours we spend, the hours we work is a self-generating wealth. The CBDC is something which we have been talking about since 2016-22. Arun Jaitley ji was the first one to recognize our work in terms of talking about it in the budget in 2018 in February, where he said the cryptocurrencies are not legal tenders, following which the deputy governors, the Minister of State for Finance, Secretary Finance, including the Governor, Reserve Bank of India, and now Nirmala Sitharaman ji based on our work, what we have been saying and speaking for last 6-7 years, have come out in terms of creating a digital rupee along the similar lines of what we have proposed. And then in any case, a critical component has been something which has been debated and implemented in India is simplification of the tax systems and lowering of the tax rates across the globe. When we look at the digital revolution, I think every one of us is well aware of it. So I'll spend only a minute or two for the next 2-3 slides, where you've seen the era of innovation, the way internet access has penetrated. Today, it's about 52% of the world population which is having access to internet. 20% poorest of the world have mobile phones. 7 out of every 10 people have a mobile phone today. Access of digital technology, greater choice and convenience is at our doorsteps. We have seen that with the way digital payments have influenced our day-to-day life and perplexed and eased our working in terms of making any kind of a payment across the board today. The M-Pesa digital payment was reduced 90% of the cost, which was when it was tested in Kenya almost about 5 years back. Women participation have enhanced. Their engagement in making businesses, small startups, and they're doing other activities while managing their families has been empowered with this digital revolution. The extremely poor, disabled, and downtrodden are the ones who maximum benefited from this structure. Improving business climate, transparency. Even in the current budget, Nirmala Sitharamanji talks about the fact that the payments of all works done for the government needs to be done within 10 days through online payment accounts. The direct benefit transfers to 2.6 crore farmers for the direct benefit transfers for the payment of crops is again going to be there. So we can see the power, and the person comes to know on a click of a button whether the money has arrived or not, and then can make further transactions. Something which is critical. Less cash economic systems have helped do this despite the demonetization backlashes. And I'm happy to say demonetization has helped. We have done a recent study, an empirical study, where macroeconomically we have found that there is no impact of the demonetization per se on the economic frameworks or the economic parameters. In fact, there are certain other pecuniary benefits which have come out, which I'll highlight a few minutes from now. So virtual currencies or central bank launching is important. This is how the digital technologies interplay. As I said, I will not be touching upon some of this, something which the World Bank produced in 2016, the way it intercedes into society and moves forward, the way the influence of digital influx had gone up and influencing people at large, the way connectivity had increased, the importance, both in terms of governance and in terms of movements of goods and services and facilitating the livelihoods of people. Artificial Intelligence Society, this work which got published in 2020, has these case studies on various things which have been on agriculture, rural and urban, national security, healthcare, women, social welfare, youth, how jobs get created today for a youth. Like ASCI was talking about, the payback period is 1 year. At the institute, at the Institute of Finance, the MBF program pursued by our students, we say payback period is between 3 months to 6 months. In fact, when our students were getting placed overseas in the overseas market, the payback period used to be few hours, in fact, because they used to get paid in dollars. So certainly today the market which is there for jobs is no longer the local boundaries of Hyderabad or Telangana or Andhra Pradesh or South India or North India or India. As a matter of fact, it is across board, across the country, across the globe per se. And that's where the artificial intelligence and the outplays give us the help in this. The MSME sectors have benefited, infrastructure. In fact, if you look at the budget 2020, large number of factors, healthcare, they're trying to digitalize. Rural and urban, including agriculture, they're creating digital imprints by registering a unique ID for all agriculturist landowners. And as a result, direct benefit transfers can be transferred to these landowners by identifying who needs them and who does not need them. Not the rich farmers, but the poorest of the poor farmers need those benefits. Similarly, in terms of national security, we have seen the way the last 3-4 years we have utilized some of these frameworks of blockchains and AI, women empowerment and moving forward. Social welfare schemes in terms of disbursement. There also a lot of AI is being used. As I said, this particular work which is listed below, if you can kindly go through the work, will give you specific case studies where we have quoted and empirical data sustaining this. Even in taxation, the way tax frameworks have worked in the last 10 years. Nowadays, I remember my return when I filed, within a few months, you got, otherwise earlier, it used to take 5, 6, 7, 8 months for the income tax to process. Now, within a few days, few months, maybe a month or so, we get the tax returns scrutinized and structured and refunds taking place, including direct and indirect taxes. GST collections and structures in terms of repayments also takes place. This, in any case, helps. Regulation and governance has improved. Monetary and fiscal prudence has also improved. Why is RBI able to take so many major steps lately, so frequently? Bombay Stock Exchange, National Stock Exchange update. Why? Because they've utilized some of these technologies in terms of upgrading information and data which comes to them. And ultimately, this leads to the creation of the livelihood. Some of the works where we have seen AI and blockchains being utilized, some of the works which we proposed way back in 93, 91 for money laundering bill and the Money Laundering Act from FERA to FEMA came into picture. Based on our suggestion, the Parliament of India consulted us in terms of creating Kisan credit cards, which was suggested by us way back in 96, 97, 98, being implemented by Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Agriculture, and Ministry of RBI together. Tax incentive schemes introduced have been implemented since 1991 based on our work, including the oil pool account, which is in place for disbursement and creation of oil pool reserves. The curbing of international money laundering, the World Energy Fund, which the OECD has taken up immediately a year after when we proposed. Post office banking, which I have been personally speaking about based on our work between 2008 till 2017-18. In fact, even recently we have been talking about, I'm happy that Nirmala Sitharamanji has introduced post office banking the way we have proposed. Earlier, Pradhan Mantri Modi ji had introduced it, but in a different fashion of creating a new institution. We said, no, you need to only empower the current post office. I'm happy Nirmala Sitharamanji has looked at our work. In fact, the last interview of mine at Lok Sabha TV in 2013, I was able to trace, and fortunately that link is available in this PPT as well. The National Labour Exchange, as I've told you, cryptocurrency, the central bank, again, which is introduced now, including the union budget, and mobile mandi and mandis for bank for doubling farmers' income. Now, in this section, I'll just skim through, but I'd like to hint you a few parameters which are on uncertain times. You see, we get scared when Corona started. We were very scared of what will happen tomorrow, what will happen to the world, what will happen to the economies, how the economies are going down. This was the cause of discussion, and debate. In fact, from January 2020, when I got invited from television to be interviewed on some of these issues, I was being questioned on what is going to happen. So before that, I talked to some of the doctors, the medical superintendents of hospitals, and they said, Corona has been there for 2000 years. And that gave me a click. If Corona has been there for 2000 years, what is stopping it to be there for the next 2000 years? So it's a question of life with Corona and not life after Corona. We've seen Ukraine, Russia war bring disturbances, tsunami, natural disasters bring disturbances. In fact, some of these I'll be discussing and in an interview immediately after the conference at 5 o'clock today in Jantantra television. So digital influx and digital currencies have been the need to take care of some of them and still go forward in our life going forward. So in any case, I will not be touching upon these subjects, but as I wanted to show, look at these events of history. 3,000 years when we trace back prehistoric epidemic, plagues of Athens, Anthonia plague, the plague of, in some of them, 50%, even the full civilization in that particular city had been died. But we are here talking to each other. We are here communicating with each other. We are multiplying. We are one of the second largest population in the world. And in fact, I proudly say we are the second largest Muslim population in the world. If Pakistan and Bangladesh are to join back and become part of us, I feel I don't mind. We will be the first largest Muslim population in the world after, and then Indonesia will follow us. Currently, Indonesia is number 1. So we have been a country which have been growing, multiplying. This is despite some of the events of the Great Plague of London, the Marseille. In Marseille, 75% of the population gone. Russian plague, 80% of the population disappeared. Yet Philadelphia yellow fever, the whole township had actually washed away completely. Flu, pandemic, and some of them still continuing to be there. If you look at AIDS, 1981, still going on. West Africa Ebola, still some existence can be seen. The Zika virus still there. Corona is still there. H1N1, swine flu, over, but still we can see some remains of it in certain parts of the world. So you can clearly see some of them still existing and creating that road, but we exist. And this is where some of these disasters, whether it is Ukraine war or the Sri Lanka disaster, whether tsunamis, the mankind has grown and developed and taken care of. So there's a world after that. And that's where the need for the digital influx. I come to the economics of money. And that's where it's important to understand, as my colleague, Dr. Ali, was introducing the topic earlier today. He talked about some of the cryptocurrencies, the way exchanges are created, the way cryptocurrencies are being traded, the advantages of them. Then you also talked about the CBDC, which we are going to focus on. So we have been talking about the fact that these so-called cryptocurrencies, I call them crypto products. I don't call them cryptocurrencies. These crypto products are not meeting the requirements of the term currency or money in any form. First is the medium of exchange. Medium of exchange is not when 4, 5, 10, 15 people or 100,000 people just start trading it. It has to be lakhs of people who are using to exchange as a medium of exchange. None of such products, whether it is Bitcoin or Ethereum or any other, is being utilized as medium of exchange. In fact, Tesla, which was one of the first companies to recognize in terms of payment for car, even withdrew a couple of months back, immediately after introducing it, the fact that it could not be utilized. And after the fact that the United States came out, the Fed came out and say that we have also not said it's a legitimate or a legal tender. So they have not said it's a currency, yet they allow those products to be traded in the markets. Firstly, as I said, medium. Second is unit of account. The unit of account is that it can be accounted for. It can have a store value. When you have a unit of account, what does it mean? Can it be exchanged? Can it be put into my account? Can it be evaluated and valued? Please understand, where are they contained? In some ledger. Who contains those ledger? No one knows. Which boundary are the ledgers contained in? We do not know. It is some cloud framework somewhere which exists. So when I put it in Hindi term, I'm not able to find a parallel in English, which is like they have no Mai-Baap. So they have no father and mother to really talk about. So the unit of account cannot be done because there is need to be a legitimacy given out to these products. And I will come to later how money has been able to get the legitimacy. So unit of account is critical, which is again missing in all of them. Yes, there is a ledger. Yes, they're accountable in terms of ledger, but then who controls that? Who does not? Where is it stored? No one knows. Who can value it? Who cannot value it? No one knows. Is there an underlying asset or not? There is no underlying asset or variable which can be there. So the store of value is also not there. Now, please understand this very small component, which most of us don't know. You should read the books on money and currency, and you will appreciate this fact then. The store of value is when you say rupee, 1 rupee, where does it get its strength from? It is not the exchange rate which gives us the strength. Although we say $75 rupee for a dollar, or 76 rupee for a dollar, or 4 Sri Lankan dollar for 1 rupee. This is not what gives it the strength. That is only the exchange rate, the currency trading rate. The store of value comes from the total assets of a country, publicly held or privately held. Please understand again, it is the total value of the assets, publicly held or privately held. You might have seen recently, a couple of years back, that Greece was going through a debacle. When Greece was going through a debacle, at that stage, what did we see happen? In that case, we saw that Greece could not have the power of printing money because it had endorsed the Eurozone. So it had to start selling its assets. So first the public assets, and then if still they were not stabilized, they would have to sell the private assets. So even those assets which are held by you and me in privately, or institutions like ASCI or Indian Institute of Finance, are part of the strength which the rupee attains from. So it is that strength comes from there. And that's why when Sri Lanka is going through, I have been talking for the last 5 days on various channels that their value of assets, which they can monetize in terms of liquidating like the Greece did, can be done in terms of restoring their economic health care. So store of value is there. If a currency goes out, Bitcoin goes away, where do you get the value from? Who is the one who will give you that value? There is no store of value at all. Even, you see, so when we look at recently in Rohini, a small town in Delhi called Rohini, which is a middle class segment society in Rohini, 60-some crores worth of Bitcoins were taken away, stolen away. Now, where does this gentleman report to? Does he report to Rohini police, to South Delhi police, to Telangana police, to British police, to Scotland Yard police, or to Israel police, or to Iraq police? No one knows. Why? They will say, where was this money held? Who was holding this money? Where is the accountability of it? There is no value attached to it. Where will you get it? And it landed up in all terroristic hands across the globe. And whom do you go and report to? So this is a big issue which is there, that they have no underlying asset. And I'm happy that Shaktikanta Das, about a month back, finally came out and said cryptocurrencies, which are trading as crypto products, have no underlying asset, which we have been speaking for the last 6 years. So the correct measure of money, as rightly pointed out, is narrow and broad. The narrow money being more liquid and broad money being less liquid, which has been traded as a student of economics, you would know this.
Cryptocurrencies, the new avatar, will not disappear even after they are made illegitimate or they are demonised after the cryptocurrency bill is tabled in the parliament, a decision is taken on it. So the new avatar will move into Hawala or dark web, which you already start seeing. Every day you can read the newspaper where dark web, Hawala transactions, or even where we saw in IPL games, cryptocurrencies were being utilized in terms of bribing or in terms of influencing people's decision and so on and so forth. Earlier, we had seen gold, silver, leather, wood, metal, paper, plastic, tobacco, livestock, stones being utilized as a medium of exchange or a currency. But there could not be that whoever held gold will make, a goldsmith will make gold and become currency. No, it had to be stamped. It had to be legitimated. None of these cryptocurrencies are legitimated by anybody. They are as virtual or as cloudish as their creator, some Japanese creator who I will just come to in a moment. His identity is not known. Imagine a country like United States, a country like Japan, which has records for everyone who has been existing. They have more stronger systems than any developing country in the world. Still, they have not been able to trace him, whether he did exist or this person ever was in existence on Earth. So imagine how virtual his currencies are also similar. So the authenticity of value of wealth, national money supply comes with when the government issues these papers or coins or digital, like the RBI has been asked to give the digital rupee. So the underlying asset, the asset classification. Also, if you read the security analysis portfolio management books, you go and read what is an asset, and you will see these products or currencies, so-called cryptocurrencies, do not quantify or qualify the basic definition of an asset class. And that's what we have explained in our paper in detail in one full section. Some of the monetary aggregators which have been used in the past by various countries, M0, MB, and so on and so forth, as I've outlined here, which you can see. So what we propose is that once a digital currency is introduced, they will have to create a new term called M5 to account for all those which we have done. In India, which we look at is M1, M3, and M5. We studied about 10 countries, case studies, which we'll show in money supply section. And then we came out with some of these commonly practiced and used monetary aggregates. As I said, in India, we use M1 and M3. M3 is most commonly used across the globe. So M1, which we are proposing, will have to be used with M3 plus the cryptocurrency launched by the central bank only, not by anybody else as a digital currency or a central bank digital currency. Some of the countries which I've been talking about, in fact, Venezuela was one of the first one to introduce petrodollar. After our work got published, they introduced petrodollar immediately. They did qualify and do it the way we have proposed in our work, where they said the petroleum reserves of Venezuela will give the justification or strength to petrodollar, and that's where the petrodollar will gain its strength from. But unfortunately, it went bust within a few months because the reserves they quoted to be backing petrodollar as an underlying asset were not there at all. So when they were not there, they had no option to actually close this currency, which was already picking up so strong. So it would have been the first digital currency launcher, but then it failed. We have had China for the last 3 years wanting to create the PBC digital currency. So far, we have not seen its existence. Although they say that last year they did introduce the PBC, but in terms of practical usage, we have not seen it functional in any part of the world, including China. So we don't know if it is launched, but they have been working on it for the last 3 years based on our work as well. United States, from last year onwards, in fact, has started from 2020 end, but more from 2021, has started saying that the Federal Reserve Board will also create a dollar-based digital currency. And after which they have said these cryptocurrencies are not legal tenders, they are not currencies, although we allow them to be traded in the stock exchanges. Also, recently, only about a month back, Warren Buffett's partner, Warren Buffett, as you know, is one of the largest investment bankers and is heard mostly by all communities, whether it is students, teachers, or practitioners on the stock exchange or investment bankers. He has also come and given a strong warning for people who are looking at in terms of burning their hands or trading on cryptocurrencies as a matter of fact, and clearly given a warning that they have no legal biasness, no legal structure, and one should not indulge in them. India would be the first one to introduce a digital currency as mandated by Nirmala Sitharaman in the Union Budget 2020, based on our work from 2016 onwards, if they do so. And hopefully they have been well prepared in terms of doing it, and it needs to be part of the fiat currency. It does not need mining. It does not need those big machines. It does not need energy consumption. You need to just change the form of money like it was changed from gold to silver to leather to wood and metal. Similarly, from paper to digital. We are already in a digital platform, but the difference is we're using a gateway. The digital rupee will move like your cash moves from one wallet to the other. When I go to a shoe mender or a tea person, or I want to buy vegetables, I pay cash from my pocket and give it to him. Currently, when I make digital payment, it goes through the whole banking system in a digital structure. However, when it comes to digital rupee, that will not go that way. No digital payment gateways will be used. No transaction cost will be there. However, 100 rupees transferred will go to the other person's wallet as 100 rupees. The difference will be, as of now, it moves from leather wallets to leather wallets or paper wallets or cotton wallets. Then it will move from digital wallet to digital wallet. That will be the only difference. And the difference will be, it will create a digital imprint, which cash does not. So there the difference will certainly come up, but otherwise the technology is being developed. We already test run Rupiah. We have also test run a technology which works on SMS-based structures instead of internet in terms of transferring money and payment gateways. So the RBI is already developing that blockchain-based structure or AI-based structure where one could transfer money from A to B without actually using these gateways. And this is where the digital revolution in digital payment framework will come in, with the digital rupee coming in. And that's where M5 will be used, and the fiat currency will still exist the way it has existed traditionally. There are about 72 plus countries worldwide which have banned, not allowed cryptocurrencies to be, or crypto products like Bitcoins and all to be utilized. Only stock trading allowed in India, as like equity or debt trading, which is also at the behest of the Supreme Court, which intervened on the request of some of these traders to allow them to do so. Although RBI had given clear directions to the banks, and those directions still stand, that they're not allowed to indulge, to give money or transact in any of these trades. However, people are allowed to trade given the Supreme Court order, which is subject to clearance, even when the Supreme Court has recently asked about valuation, the virtual assets, as well as the framework of what will be the demand. The cryptocurrency bill has already been tabled in 2021 November by the chairman, Shri Piyush Goyal, the central cabinet minister. It was supposed to be heard in the previous parliament session. However, it will be heard in the next, maybe because Nirmala Sitharamanji wanted to announce. This is the work which got published after almost 3 years of deliberation, debate, and presentation globally. And then you can see immediately after that, the RBI created the committee. So I've been interviewed on Delhi, Doordarshan, various other channels across the globe on this issue, including the Forbes and others. Some of the works which have been published, you can always look at, click on the videos and listen to them. They are short videos, get a crystal clear. The book which Bala published, where our paper is chapter 13, which has been published, which uses artificial intelligence and others. As I said, when we look at money supply, read through these topics, you'll understand why cryptocurrencies, so-called crypto products by me, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, do not qualify as a money in terms of quantifying. Similarly, they do not quantify as money stock or currency valuation because they defy the basic principle of assets. These are M0, MB and all, which are well defined. As I said, we looked at 10 global central banks and then looked at these monetary aggregates, which they looked at M0, MB, M1, M2, M3, MZM, M4, and finally what we are proposing is M5, which is M3 plus cryptocurrencies, the CBDCs proposed, launched by the central bank only. This is how they work. Even in India, we have M0, M1, M2, M3, and M4. However, we look at M1 and M3 most regularly as a narrow and broad money to looked upon by the central bank. The others are calibrated, but not looked upon so rigorously. This is why we need to introduce the framework in the bank and regulate and create this currency. And I'm happy that Nirmala Sitharamanji has introduced this. We come to this virtual community. I think you can go through European Central Bank and European Commission works in the last 10 years, in particular, after the arisen of these so-called cryptocurrencies, Bitcoins and Ethereum. And they have come out clearly outlining what are virtual products, what are virtual schemes. And you can see these virtual products are defined in terms of what we say is virtual products, defining them as crypto products and not cryptocurrencies per se. They've also defined what are electronically money schemes and virtual schemes, clearly outlining in their works in the last 10 years. And similarly, we have outlined the benefits and structures, why they cannot be referred, and why this is flawed as an asset class. And our works, as I said, the virtual or real goods and services, transfer of fund, which is critical. Cryptocurrency, as I said, does not have a tenable asset or legal sanctity. The liquid asset and liquid assets from finance perspective, tangible, intangible. In fact, Dr. Ali also talked about the fact that they're non-traceable. As I said, you don't know where they exist, come from, where they come from. And essentially the assets, everyone owns, or liabilities, everyone owes. So there is no that the basic definition of asset class is defined. And as a result, they need to be clarified and understood by everyone that they do not quantify as a cryptocurrency or a currency as a matter of fact. These virtual products have been defined by various agencies and scientists and entrepreneurs, and which do not define the tenable asset class. This is how Satoshi Nakamoto, as I said, a person who has no legal entity. There is, even till today, 2008, we are 14 years down. Imagine United States of America, Japan has not been able to identify and say a person in the history of today who died or living is Satoshi Nakamoto. He is as virtual, as opaque, as cloudish as these cryptocurrencies. So you can imagine, you should not base yourself on someone who has just come out and started saying something and some technology is developed and we start trading on them and using them. In any case, these are the ways crypto products mining is done, which is not required for cryptocurrencies when we look at creating digital currencies. The decentralization, certainly. Easy to set up, yes. Anonymous, very well. Transparent yet opaque. Transaction fee, minuscule, nothing at all. Speed of transfer, very fast, non-reputable. There is no, as I gave you the example of the Rohini gentleman. Where does he go to? Which court? Which law? Which court should he appeal to? His money is lost. Where does he go? He's ready to pay taxes. But then where should he pay taxes for? He does not have that money. And it is not now. There was another exchange about 3 weeks back, where all the money in that exchange disappeared. All the trade values disappeared. And suddenly next day, the whole value structurally came back again. When the exchange was asked, where did it go and where did it come back from? They did not respond. So was it artificially created? Yes, someone stole and they artificially created a new set of people because they are the only holders of ledgers. No one else knows who has created and where it is kept. And this is where the Bitcoins or the virtual have the problem. The value basis, stability, liquidity, informational efficiency, accessibility, regulatory framework, and transferability of ownership is our key component parameters we define and defy these virtual products. Before I go on and go to the conclusion in the next 5-10 minutes time, I would like to also tell you about something about banking, which many of us are not aware about. The Indian rupee, the Indian currency, has been there for over 1000 BCE. We are one of the oldest currency nations in the world. We were not a nation at that time. We are a conglomerate, but we have seen existence of so-called currency regimes in India in 1000 BCE. The rupee, which comes from the Sanskrit word rupiah, means silver. And the first rupee word-based structure as a currency was launched by Sheshashwari in 1496. The 3 banks which were merged to create the central bank was there, and the central bank has been using this money. The Madras Presidency introduced 12 fanals, which were called the earlier currency than the rupee, to be called the 1 rupee. The Indian government also introduced the rupee in the Gulf zone way back in 1959. The difference was the 100 rupee note or a 500 rupee note, as you saw in India before, was in a different color because Indian central bank did not understand how do we differentiate between the currency floating outside India and the currency floating within the country. So for Gulf, where large number of Indians were going and working, including Singapore and others, they created a different color currency altogether. So they could utilize, come and change it in the central bank here and then change it back to 1 rupee equal to 1 rupee when they wanted to do. So we have a currency has been floating internationally, globally, and has become a reserve currency by a large number of central banks. At least about 15 central banks I know of where trade takes place in India has been utilizing. And with this Ukraine-Russia war, we will see the acceptability of the rupee even strengthen more, including the rupiah, which is a parallel of Master and Visa card framework. The floating currency framework which the China has been wanting to do in terms of getting it acceptability for yuan. Indian rupee has been floating as a managed float, including the dollar is a managed float, the yen is a managed float since 1978. So the currency has been floating extensively, and this gives us the power, the strength of the currency being floating, and the trade we are able to enable. The changes before the RBI and the financial industry have been with the huge history we have had of the currency going forward. And with the digital rupee, as we have projected, we will see new revolution happen. Some things which have happened: online banking, mobile banking, virtual banking partially. I remember when online banking was introduced here, I was debated, a lot of innovations were done. I was part of some award committees as well. In fact, one of my colleagues, Stephen Sheffer, he was working in London Business School as a professor there. He, in fact, was working in Africa, how they transferred millions and billions of dollars, black dollars, across one mobile to the other, way back in 1985, 1995, 96, 97, till about 2005, 2006. And they were able to do that without getting into the government regulatory framework. And so the online banking, the mobile banking were key, and I'm happy that in India we have seen that virtual currency is going to see its play. We've also had the post office banking based on our work, the banking on wheels, agro banking, which is there, introduced the education banking, and some of the others which need to be done in terms of creating. We still don't have online banks, and hopefully someday we will see online banks as well. Some of these things are critical in terms of financial literacy, transparency. KYC norms is something which was introduced based on our work way back in 2003-04, based on which the Money Laundering Act earlier got created, and the KYC norms introduced by the World Bank and the IMF based on the work in 2003 and 4. Immediately after 5 days after our work on international money laundering was covered by almost about 1,000 newspapers and agencies worldwide, the IMF and World Bank took a decision, and they sent us a one-page letter with about 8 or 9 thank yous written in them, clearly thanking us for the suggestion for introducing KYC norms, which were introduced in November 2004 by the Reserve Bank of India and various other countries across the globe after the KYC was suggested by us in 2003 and 4. Regulatory prudence have gone up. The Aadhaar, JAM Trinity, and security, cybersecurity has actually played a very important interplay role in terms of inducing. So these are some of the questions before us. I will not go through them, but we need to think about the new millenniums, the Generation Z needs to think about it. Professors, researchers, industry people need to think about the financial inclusion, the banking, dividend. Who is it for? Who is it meant for? This government has been trying to target all its policy framework in terms of introducing that who is it for? What are we trying to do? It's for digital disability, dividends and digitalization, internet, public good. Many people criticize demonetization. I say demonetization has done something which MasterCard and Visa has been targeting since 1970s. You can look at the annual balance sheets of 1970s. They say we want to do less cash economies. They could not. And it has digitalized a segment which is the poorest of the poor, the BPL families, the person on the street, digitalize them completely, which could not have been done by teaching. My colleague from SEBI is here. He knows how difficult it is for SEBI, the Bombay Stock Exchange, to educate investors and others. They have not, despite crores of rupees spent, not everywhere has been educated. Even today, a lot of educational institutions, even we do programs in terms of educating people, but then they're still not educated. Imagine this demonetization gave such a big jolt in terms of empowering that community. And that is not simple empowerment. Look at the security factor which comes with it. A person who earns 10 rupees a day in this country. There are people who earn 5 to 10 rupees a day in this country, my dear friends. And that's their livelihood. And they're happy with their 10 rupees. Now imagine he earns that 10 rupee in cash, and before he goes back in the evening, either his friend comes for drinks or a game, or some smuggler or theft takes it away from him. Where does he go? If he goes to a police station and reports that 10 rupees is to be brought back, do you think the police will help him to get 10 rupees back from a theft? No. But now, because it goes in a digital mode, it goes into his account that builds upon his revenue for powering students, for education loan, for housing loan, for giving food and butter to his family. And that is where he is strengthened, he is empowered in terms of social security and security, as a matter of fact, with this demonetization and digitalization framework, which has come through Aadhaar, the digital JAM Trinity, and the demonetization, as a matter of fact. Some of these key components have been explained. So this is where we're looking at smart cities, big data, internet good as a good, public good, education segment, the government, transparency, the governance being introduced. Today, the government of India, including Prime Minister's office, monitors most of its schemes for the last 5-6 years. sitting in his office. He does not need to go. He does not need to send a team of 10, 15, 20 people to go and monitor. It is monitored sitting in his office today, and he is able to do. When you're looking at government, global parliaments, United Nations and all, they hold their meetings in virtual mode, saving a huge chunk of money to the exchequer, where people had to move, do transactions, transportation, hotel, administrative expenses have got reduced. So imagine the kind of fruitfulness which digital influx brings. Certainly, there is a cost to it, which is privacy issues get compromised. Social fabric gets reduced. Risk of cybersecurity, which is a key concern, certainly gets compromised and is at risk. This work, which were interviewed in Forbes, US, got published about 2-3 years back, clearly talks about my interview about Aadhaar and the way cybersecurity is a threat and can be perplexed up with Aadhaar and the JAM Treaty, which is being proposed by the government of India. The government concerns on control, money laundering, terroristic threats, and the virtual currency now is something there. I just come for the next 5 minutes. I will be closing my address to you, and I'll be open to any questions you have now or later. The budget, in my opinion, is transparency, accounting, and sustainability in 2022-23. It is adding wings to India's at 100. And this is something which I picked up as a picture in an article which appeared in Economics, which I have, India's chance to fly. We are a baby elephant, which I was quoted in Swedish radio way back in 2001, where I talked about India being a baby elephant, wanting to fly and swim high, the largest youth population in the world wanting to do. And I think the digital revolution, which has been proposed in the budget, current and even the previous budget, will help do that. Even the digital rupee will help do that. In any case, as I said, my topic is not about budget today, so I'm not going to discuss, but I will talk about the digital imprint here, the banking, the post office banking, the healthcare, education and currency, the way the government is focused in terms of inducing safety, efficiency, productivity, and healthy living. The budget also talked about various other aspects. As I said, I will skip some of them, but in the interest of time, but I will try to talk about the cryptocurrency aspect, which is the virtual assets. Nirmala Sitharamanji, unfortunately, has opened an ambit of plethora of activities when she outlined taxation of virtual assets. I'm repeating here, she did not say third taxation on cryptocurrencies. She said taxation on virtual assets. Now, virtual assets, what does it really mean? Now, the plethora which has been opened up is digital paintings you might have read in newspapers, fetching a huge chunk of money. Are patents are digital assets, virtual assets. EFTs are virtual assets. All crypto products, commonly known as cryptocurrencies, are virtual assets. Data and information, people trade data and information. People buy, sell data and information. It's virtual assets. Photographs, antique photographs. Sometimes we see, Chacha Nehru's or Mahatma Gandhi's photograph or someone else's photograph coming up. Antique photographs coming up, rare photographs. They are virtual assets. IPL player skills, which are being auctioned as contracts. You have an IPL game which is taking place. Their skills, now nothing else but virtual assets. Influencers, you might have read of. See the influencer practically. What do? They're able to market products. What do they take the fee for? For influencing. What is that? That is a skill. That skill is nothing else but a virtual asset. Goodwill, you might have studied in accounting a term called goodwill, which normally is accounted for when a company wants to sell itself, or a merger acquisition like HDFC merger acquisition is taking place. They will calibrate a goodwill and then a share value which has been outlined. But in any case, a goodwill is there accountingly. Now, goodwill is nothing else but a virtual asset. And similarly, many other assets. So imagine the umbrella of virtual assets, like the word derivatives encompasses insurance and similar large number of products when it got introduced in 1978. Nirmala Sitharamanji has created a structure where the accounting fraternity and the government will have to think they want to call it the virtual asset, or again recoin it to crypto products only. As of today, the virtual assets include all of them till the rules are created. 30% tax means whatever price you sell at this virtual asset minus the price you bought it at. No other cost. So whether you had losses, you had gains, whether you had holding costs, no. Only the price you sell it minus this price you got it will be allowed in terms of 30% taxation, first of all. But this is also ambiguous because, first of all, like the gentleman in Rohini, till you came out that he had lost, did one know that someone sitting in a small middle-class township called Rohini will own 60, 65 or 68 crore worth of Bitcoins? I cannot own even 60 crore worth of assets in the next 100 years teaching as a professor, despite all savings I may have. Now, this gentleman had in a small township. not really declared. So it all becomes when you declare. There is no way for a government to go and trace who is holding what kind of virtual assets or what kind of crypto products at all. And as a result, this taxation framework is very difficult to implement, which has started getting implemented from 1st April 2022. The second thing which they introduced was the TDS of 1% transfer. Now that is still simpler, because when you transfer these assets, whether it is a painting or a digital painting or a photograph or a IPL players auction thing or influencer goodwill, it's a public news. Then it is traded on exchanges. So when exchange transfer from one account to the other, there will be transferability, and then you can introduce. The final fate of the cryptocurrencies, so-called the crypto products, will be based on the cryptocurrency bill tabled in November 2021 by Shri Piyush Goyal ji, who is the cabinet minister. Hopefully will be heard in the next parliamentary session, and a decision would be taken, hopefully along the lines which we have been proposing, in terms of banning them completely, not allowing, because that erodes the wealth of a common man, hard-earned money. Any one of you trading in them, my dear friends, large number of government officials have come out. No less than 2 finance ministers, governor, deputy governors, secretary finance, minister for state for finance. In any case, we have been shouting hue and cry for the last 6 years at over 200 plus forums globally, including television channels, some of them listed below, have been there. But despite that, forget me as a recognition, but government officers have been saying it. I hope that should open up your eyes. I remember a small story here. I remember when I was a small child, we used to hear in television stories about people burning crackers in their hand in Deepavali at festive times. And then they will burst and they will burn their hands. And there used to be ads not to do so. I recently saw an ad similarly when Deepavali was coming in India. In the television, they don't do that. So people still like to take those risks. So if you still want to take that risk and burn your hand, you're welcome to do that. With that, I come to the conclusion, last 2 slides. AI and blockchains are an integral part of human well-being. As early as we enhance them, embrace them, the framework which Dr. Ali is putting forward to us will help these 400, 500 people who are with us today empower themselves, generate their own wealth, understand and go forward, listening to 3 of us and some of the other people who have spoken before. Digital currency is the way forward. The regulatory prudence needs to be there. Central banks are already up their sleeves to do it. Technology as an enabler is important. M5 will have to be introduced. E-Rupiah, which is launched on 3rd August 2021 by the Honorable Prime Minister, will be one of the key factor frameworks for the digital rupee to go forward. Vision 2030 is jobs, growth, and simplification. The world is moving to a new economic order. We saw that framework. When Ukraine and Russia were in war, they were all calling upon the Prime Minister in India, saying, please go and talk to them. Why? Because we have economic powers now. China being the manufacturing power, India being the knowledge power, Europe being the finance power, Russia and United States being the defense power, and so on and so forth. So there's a multipolar world which is coming. But we still need governments to focus on social security facilities, social security frameworks, environment and social equilibrium, business and economic environmental growth. And I hope I would like to leave you with these 2 messages. One is a message which Buddha ji has suggested, which is right views, 8th why I've got right views, right decision, right speech, right action, right living, right struggle, right thoughts, and right meditation. Very difficult to achieve, but you must target and try and achieve it as an individual, as an organization, as a country. And lastly, my dear friends, I always say for the last 25 years now, trust and confidence holds the key to growth and prosperity. Whether it is a trust between husband and wife, whether it is between student and teacher, whether it is between employer and employee, whether it is between a company and civilians, whether it is between government and companies or civilians, or whether it is between governments and intergovernment nations or governments and the civilian. If you have trust and confidence, you are bound to see growth and prosperity. If you do not, whether it is a micro level or a macro level, you are bound to fail. With this, I would like to come in any case, as a diligence, we have been contributing in terms of doing research. Finance India is something which we produce. We have helped AICT in terms of creating the first framework for engineering education framework in this country. Then some of the works, policy decisions, almost about 68 decisions have been taken by institutions globally, around the world, some of the courses and rankings. I thank you very much. Namaskar.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Actually, I take it as an opportunity to thank you and also to put that it was a very mesmerizing lecture. We have really enjoyed it. I should put it from the participant side also, because they have also enjoyed it. We have seen through the chat box, we got a very huge response. So we are very much thankful to you, sir, that you have from the scratch explained that how the currency and about virtual currency, and really we have really enlightened our knowledge. And the purpose, basic purpose of this webinar was also the same thing, that we want to create an awareness about the virtual currency or the cryptocurrency, because actually in the market there was something other going on. So I think now people have understood very clearly the advantages and or disadvantages of this currency. So anyhow, dear participants, we have question and answer session also at the end of this webinar. After the two speakers, we have another speaker, Syed Imtiaz Hassan. He is HOD CSE and IT from Manu. After that, we also have Deputy General Manager Shri Shrikant MK Garu. He will also enlighten on this current burning topic. So if you have any questions, participants, please type it in the Q&A chat box so that we can take up it and our panelist will answer to that questions. So thank you, sir. And also we have heard from you that your father has also been visited to ASCI. So we are very much delighted, sir. And also we would like to invite you for in many other lectures also, sir.
Certainly, it will be a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So now I would go to the second speaker. We have Dr. Syed Imtiaz Hassan, who is working as an associate professor, head department of computer science and information technology, Maulana Azad National Urdu University. He has completed his doctorate from Jamia Millia Islamia, Central University, New Delhi. His professional experience spans over 20 years of teaching, research, and project supervision. His primary area of research is data science, machine intelligence, and blockchain for healthcare and sustainable development. Sir, I think you will be throwing the light on the technology which is running this cryptocurrency. So, sir, over to you, sir. Dr. Syed Imtiaz Hassan, sir.
So is it
So there is some disturbance, sir. Hello. There may be some network issue. Dr. Syed Imtiaz Hassan, sir, are you there?
hello?
Yes, sir has joined. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Yes, actually it's just power cut. So I'm on hotspot. So is it visible or it is audible?
Okay. Yes, sir. It's clear, sir. It's audible and visible.
Okay, fine.
Sir, you can continue, sir.
First of all, okay, fine. In fact, it's my privilege to be invited as a speaker here among so many eminent speakers are there. So right now we have heard about Professor Srikanth. So I am not from the finance sector, as you know. I am from the technology background, computer science background, and it's so just may I share a slide?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can share the slide.
Okay, fine. So my topic is, in fact, we are talking about the underlying technology that cryptocurrency is having. That's the blockchain. And then we are having some kind of applications, issues, and challenges we are going to discuss. So what shall I talk right now? I have heard Professor Aman, he has spoke so much, and he has in fact delivered in so many information. We have been some confusion. So that has been perhaps audience is also able to enlighten with Professor Agarwal's lecture. And what I'm going to discuss is something here, just that you can feel it. Perhaps everyone sees in gold. And if I say whether gold is an asset or gold is a currency, so maybe you can answer accordingly. But what I see gold as a metal. So I will talk in this context. I will not talk like gold is a currency or gold is an asset. I will talk gold is a metal. So I will focus on the technology perspective only. And next thing that I want to share, that is what I am sharing right now. It's an information only. Don't take it as a suggestion or don't take it as an opinion, because I'm not expert of finance. There are so many person of finance that is available here. So let's start from the beginning. Perhaps Agarwal Sahab has already told that this is the beginning, you can say, the white paper published in October 2008 by Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So the first part is the Bitcoin, that is the major concern on you're saying, but I don't look it as a Bitcoin. I say it's peer-to-peer, that's all. So as a technology perspective, whether Bitcoin is currency or Bitcoin is an asset or Bitcoin is something else, I am not much concerned about it right now. What I'm concerned with, what is the base, what is the technology that is employed to run this kind of system, where Bitcoin is a buzzword right now. So that is the things, blockchain, that we are going to discuss right now. So before going further, I just share one very much famous ad of Fevicol. Just have a look on it. Maybe it does not have a sound, doesn't matter, but video is self-explaining. Very short video. So that is the perception of human beings these days about cryptocurrency. Like we invest something and we will have a gain with so much ease. So that is not the case. In fact, it's sure that that is not the case. Fine. So after this concept of Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies and other currencies has been developed, So there is a lot of things that even we are aware of. That is the plus point I am just talking about. As a technologist, we don't know much about what is the cryptocurrency or what is the parallel currency and what is digital currency. Fine. So all these terms are in market, in fact, and everyone has some kind of idea about all these terms. From the finance person, they already have this idea. But for us, we also have some kind of idea after learning so many things about this cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin is the first. You can say you're having Ethereum is another kind of cryptocurrency, then altcoins and smart contracts. These are the few terms that I'm not going to explain it. And just these are the terms that we are aware of, and we should have some kind of understanding about it while talking about cryptocurrency. So another is the crowdfunding. That is the like nowadays everyone is talking about crowdfunding in this digital world, distributed ledger and crypto mining and NFTs. So these are the terms we are aware about it, and these are the terms that is having different meaning, different perspective. So before, without explaining all these terms, I will go to the underlying technology and I will focus on the blockchain. So that is the underlying technology and what is its perspective and what is its feature and what it's all about. I will try to be as simple as possible, because I don't want you to dive into the technology, but I want you that you should have some kind of idea about the technology that is running this cryptocurrency market. So if you are familiar about this, perhaps how much of you are familiar about this picture, I don't know. In 1995, Bill Gates tried to explain that internet is the benefit of internet. So even this big data man was not convinced that internet is better than a radio, and he was repeatedly asking whether we will be able to see live match on internet or not, or whether it is beneficial than the TV. But down the line, in this right now, we know what is the benefit of internet. Even internet was started for the purpose of communication only, but nowadays it's running business and it's doing a lot of things as a technology perspective. And now almost all the, you can say, digital world or all the technology or all the systems that is having right now, I can say that's running because of the internet. So from Web 1 to Web 2 to Web 3, where Web 1 we can only see the information. Then after that we were able to having some kind of not only see the able, but we are able to generate some information as in crowdsourcing, you can say. And then in Web 3 we are not able to only see the information or generate the information, but also have acquired the information as my right. For example, as a copyright or what you're saying right now in NFT and all those things. So if you say global impact blockchain, and I say what I'm talking about, be very much clear about blockchain and cryptocurrency, both are different. Blockchain is the underlying technology, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, or Ethereum, all are the, like you can say, whatever it is, asset or currency, so-called currency. But I have heard from Aman Sahab. So anyways, so that is the, but blockchain, whether Bitcoin is a currency, cryptocurrency is a feature or not, there is a doubt about it, but there is no doubt about it that blockchain is a feature that I will try to depict it. So if you go to the statistics of World Economic Forum, it's going to be an 867 trillion market. And apart from this, if you see, it will generate 3 trillion per year value by 2030. And then 10%, that is the prediction of World Economic Forum, 10% of global GDP of the world will be on the blockchain technology. Fine. Next thing is 11% of the enterprises are already employing the blockchain. Apart from it, if you go, so over half of the world, and top 100 banks, including SBI, including your Yes Bank or ICICI Bank, are employing blockchain technology in some way for the purpose of validating the system and storing their information. And apart from this, there is also a prediction of economic form. Apart from this, there are so many technologies. IoTs are the emerging technologies, and data science, or you can say AI. Blockchain is one of the 7 emerging technologies. So these are the statistics that has been projected by World Economic Forum. And if you go to it to an Indian perspective, if you go to it, okay, so there is a forecast that we already said. There is a forecast that is what I already said. There is the growth of business that has been generated by the blockchain. Remember, I'm talking about blockchain. Don't know cryptocurrency. So this is the exponential growth. You can see it here in the graph. And if you go for like for an Indian perspective, if you want to see it, the Indian perspective, Indian crypto on 241 billions by 2030 data provided by the NASCOM. Another point that has been like a blockchain can generate 8 lakh jobs. It's a potential for creating 8 lakh jobs in India. And even after that, you can say like crypto tech industry has grown 39% in the last 5 years. All these statistics have been provided by the NASCOM. So at present, the industry employs 50,000 individuals in India, that is in the blockchain market. There are 2,150 proof of concept projects that have been started in recent years. And then Indian retail investors have invested about 6.6 billion in crypto assets. So these are the statistics in Indian context. And so one thing that it is sure, whether you like it, whether you dislike it, but you cannot ignore it. So this is the figure that is statistics that is available in the. Next thing, that what is blockchain as a technology? So what I see blockchain as a futuristic technology that I have already said, it's like the internet. Internet was meant for communication only, but with time, internet is not for communication only. Internet is like a lot of things, means almost every kind of business are using one or another way internet. So what I see about blockchain is not simply investment class. I see it as a technology innovation, and it is a technology that can reach to mass. That is the, I can also show some statistics where you can have some kind of idea how blockchain is able to have a contact and how we are able to reach the poor with the help of this kind of technology. Next thing is what, while dealing with blockchain, there is in terms of cryptocurrency, if you're talking about, there is no third party. That is why it's not legal, and it is not a currency, because there must be some kind of governing authority for the currency. But here in this case, in blockchain, this is a kind of benefit we can have. So without having the third party validation, we can have peer-to-peer validation. We can trust to another things with the help of different mechanism, but we are having proof of concepts and all these things. I'm not going so much detail in this technical perspective. And next thing is like it is working on the centralized, decentralized ledger. Just like you're having a ledger, it is centralized. It is working in a decentralized ledger. So what you can say, you can have an analogy, means if you are having a kind of information that is written on one page. So what you are doing, you're dividing this page into different parts. And these parts has been placed into different lockers, and each lockers is having a key to the next lockers. So it is very difficult to store, and it's very difficult to manipulate because it's distributed. So if you see a pictorial representation, how this is different, distributed ledger is different from the centralized one. So that is one you are having, if you are having any kind of communication in general, in traditional databases, database system where two persons are interacting with each other. They have to pass through this centralized system. But in case of this blockchain distributed ledger, there is no need of this. So this third party is completely eliminated. Whether it's in benefit or not, in case of cryptocurrency, it's has been discussed, but in this blockchain, it's a benefit. So, simply overview I'm giving is just see each block as an individual item, has an identity, just like you're having fingerprint. Each person has an individual identity with the help of fingerprint. Similarly, here in block structure, each block has an identity, or each block keeps the information of previous blocks and the next blocks. And so, and what is whenever you want to add one block or you want to manipulate, change the information in a block, so you have to have some kind of proof of work, means that has to be authenticated by at least 50% users, miners, you can say, for this purpose. So if you want to hack this block structure, then you have to hack at least more than 50% miners. So that is very much difficult. But still there is some problem. Where is the problem? Just we'll discuss it. So if you go for the application domains, just it is in fact in the all domains. Domains is in Hindi domain. From health to text filing to contracts to identity management, all the domains, it is applicable because it is a technology that can have a kind of distribution where you can get multiple people very easily. So if you see the application domain, this again the report of World Economic Forum. So in terms of the last blockchain was happened the Sierra Leone, that is in perhaps 2018. 2018. This is the blockchain powered voting system that has already been in place, and we can do on also. So another statistics that I can give, like if you see Dubai, smart Dubai, so Dubai is a city. So Dubai smart city has employed
Yeah, there may be some technical interruption. Sorry for that. We are contacting sir. I mean, immediately we'll resume. Yeah, thank you, sir.
okay. Okay, next, if you, this is again a news item where United Nations has employed this blockchain technology for to connecting with the poor and for like social goods activities. So these are the few statistics that may give you an idea why we are we are looking for blockchain as a technology innovation. If we're going for the Indian adoption, India has adopted blockchain as a technology in many fronts. First of all, MIT has adopted it and has started a framework, and with the help of NIC and CDEC. And you can visit this website. This is blockchain.gov.in. So the initiative that has been taken by MIT is in fact nested strategy of blockchain. So Trust Digital platform. So with the help of multiple centers, this MIT has taken a lead in the blockchain. And in fact, if you see the literature of the blockchain, that is, we proudly say that even the foreign is looking towards the India as in blockchain implementation. Again, domains, if you say MIT domains, there is many domains that MIT has proposed for the purpose of the blockchain implementation. That's real estate, legal, banking. These are the different domains that where we can, MIT is proposing the this blockchain technology. So this is the strategy of MIT. So I'm just skipping this slide. The last one is what MIT is looking forward is convergence across blockchain, IoT, cloud, and AI. So this is known as the BK stack. So in fact, we are employing all this technology, and blockchain is a component of all this technology. So BK stack. Niti Aayog, as Sir has before mentioned, has great 4-dimensional initiative that has been started. So track and trace of drug system, pharmaceutical supply chain, fertilizers subsidy to the poor person or the farmers, and then university certificates. CBSE is also implementing in this domain. Verification of the certificates and the transfer of the land records. You have already seen Andhra, Telangana, and you are having Maharashtra has implemented this kind of land record management system where you can sell and purchase land and with the help of blockchain technology. So these are the few initiatives by NIC, CDEX, CPE, so I'm skipping it. In terms of if a banking system, you are going like Reserve Bank of India has constituted a committee at Institute for Development and Research Banking Technology, IDRBI. So, and SBI, Yes Bank, Axis Bank, and ICICI banks are also using this blockchain technology. So blockchain has given, apart from these terms, there is few terms that has been very much popular with the advent of this blockchain. One is a smart contract, where contract has been created as is it not as a manual, but as a computer program. So computer program will create a contract, and computer program will divide the share according to contract automatically without any intervention. Second thing that you're having crowdfunding, that's become very easy. So if you want to start a particular kind of project, then I can seek investment from the different kind of users, and where we can have fund. So naturally these smart contract and crowdfunding is the benefit, but these are the one of the major source where it creates some kind of problem and this kind of fraud. And another thing is NFT. Perhaps you are aware of about it. Sir has already talked before, like this is the digital assets you are talking about, like you are having a painting, you are having certain kind of things that you can create and it as an asset. So NFT is a platform where we can we can use this technology. Apart from this, we are having, you heard about the metaverse. Metaverse, where you can create a kind of imaginary world, digital world, where even marriage is happening and a lot of things are, you can say it's beyond, you can just don't think it as a virtual reality, it's beyond virtual reality. So these are the 4 future dimension where this blockchain has given a kind of boost. If you see the process of blockchain, how blockchain works. So naturally, if you see it here, so first of all, client initiate a transaction, then transaction is passed to a peer-to-peer network. Then there is so many manners there. These manners validate these transactions, and then stakeholders verify it, and finally it is added into the ledger. So that is the way blockchain functioning is done. There is a simple case where a kind of transaction, if you want to pay a bill to a one person or another person, what you have to do as a blockchain technology, then first thing is what you must have in wallet, digital wallet, where you are having some bitcoins or some kind of digital asset you are saying, or digital currency. Then this is what information we need. 2 information whenever we are operating on the blockchain. We need 2 information. One is the public key, another is the private key. Public key is known to all, that is my identity, and private key is a kind of, you can say, password that is not known to all, that is known to me. So whenever we initiate a transaction, then this transaction go to the blockchain miners, that miners try to find out whether this transaction is valid or not. And after that, create a kind of a new blockchain, and then new blockchain will have all kind of information. They will connect with each other, and then after that, it will be informed to other the two parties. So one thing that is important here, while creating a block, at least you need 10 minutes. So what is happening? You cannot produce a mass block, because this delay is intentional, in fact. So this is one illustrative use case where blockchain is used in a sale purchase of the land and land registration. So if you go to the Maharashtra, it is a use case of Maharashtra, and it is in fact taken from the Mighty. So what is in fact you're having, if you are purchasing or selling a plot, then there is so many players involved in it. What is the seller, buyer, the revenue departments are there, Tahsildar office are there, surveyors are there, and notaries are there. So even you need some kind of identity verification. That is the government department is also there, like IT departments, PAN, Aadhaar, all these things. So this blockchain technology can connect, and in fact, they don't rely on each other. So everyone will do their work in a manner, they will be collaborated, and they will create a system where we can securely sell our land and someone buy our land. This is the simple use case. So now I will focus on what are the issues and challenges of the blockchain. And in this, I have also included some kind of cryptocurrency, and already said has highlighted a lot of things, and maybe there is some kind of repetitions, but for the sake of completeness, I am just covering it. So one thing is, whenever you're talking about issues and challenges, then one thing we have to take into mind that whatever you are inputting, that is the, we can say in terms of computer science, we say it is garbage in, garbage out. If you don't have a proper definition of certain things, naturally we cannot have certain kind of outcome. So right now, what I can say, this blockchain, cryptocurrency, or you can say blockchain, is a language without a grammar. So grammar has not been defined yet, and we are using it. So naturally, there is a lot of problem, there are a lot of issues that we have to face over it. So first thing that I will focus on, there's 4 dimensions I am taking about this blockchain issues and challenges. One dimension is the regulatory and clarity, another one is the ignorance, third one is the technological perspective, and fourth one is the intentional mischief. This is a 4th dimension where we have to deal. How can we define this blockchain? How can we use cryptocurrency successfully? So first one, and just if you take it, regularity and clarity. So there is an example, there is a legal case in Delhi. So it has been asked by the Supreme Court whether cryptocurrency is still illegal in India. So even if we go to the budget and speech of the our finance minister, it has not been stated clearly whether it's legal or illegal. So maybe it's not stated. So that is the, we can say, that is the clarity we must have. What is, whether it's illegal or legal. Naturally, if government is having some kind of tax and some kind of system, it's legal. But still, even after that, if Supreme Court asks a question, naturally there is something that we have to think about it, how to define this cryptocurrency. So there is some lack of definition. And in fact, if you see it here, one thing is whether it's a legal tender or not. Naturally, it's not a legal tender. Whether it's an asset class, whether it's a virtual asset class or not, some information has been given by the sir previously. And then what is the jurisdiction? If something happened, so where we should report, what is the jurisdiction about this kind of offense? So this is some kind of clarity we must define before using this cryptocurrency. And second thing is whether it is a currency. Naturally, it's not currency. If it is currency, then it will be naturally governed by the FEMA rule. If it is in commodity, then it will be governed by Essential Commodity Act. And if it is a security, then it will be governed by certain kind of different act like Security and Exchange Board of India Act. So naturally, definition must be proper. If definition is not proper, grammar is not proper, and if we use it naturally, it will create some problem. So that is the one major issues and about this cryptocurrency, that it has not been defined. Challenges is what, how can we define it? That is again a challenge, because it's not, there is it is not a regulatory body. So naturally, if we are defining it as a currency, there must be some kind of regulatory body. Second aspect that we have to focus on, ignorance. So most of the fraud, what is happening in cryptocurrencies because of the ignorance. Ignorance is what? We go for speculative value investment. And as we know, it's highly volatile. Even a tweet of Elon Musk can create some kind of rise and some kind of down in the market of this digital world. So that is the volatility. So we should not go for speculative value investment in cryptocurrencies. You have to go, you have to see it in some kind of like time frame. In time frame, what is happening. Second thing is this is the major source of fraud is the crowdfunding and smart contract. So while going for crowdfunding and going for smart contract, you have to go through each and every, even legal point, where it has been defined. Sometimes what's happened, you have funded, and now this crowd-funded platform is not there. So you have funded in particular project, and now overnight, now you can't see a project that you have funded. So you have to very much care about this crowdfunding and smart contract. Third point is what? Because this is a multiple definition. If you go for definition of this cryptocurrency, India has a different kind of definition. China has different kind of definition. You know, China has banned. Means it is not legal. If you go for Bangladesh, it has different kind of definition. If you go for in USA and even in USA different region, you can have a different kind of definition. So while investing, you should go where you are investing and what is the definition of the product. That is the information. That is the more important. And apart from it, naturally, it is digital. So chances of theft are there. So what is happening in fact? So you are having a digital wallet, and what currency you are having, your value you are having, it's in form of digital wallet. So even though blockchain is safe, but wallet is safe or not, you have to check it out. Whether the stock you are using for this kind of investment, it is safe or not, you have to check it out. The information you are passing, that is, you are passing it to all or someone, the information that should not be passed, that you have to explore on. So even though blockchain is safe, but the platform where you are investing the things, you are using the things, that is not safe. So safe does not mean everything is safe. So you have to go through it, what kind of stock exchanges, what kind of exchanges, crypto exchanges you are going through it, and what kind of wallet you are using it. So you have to take care of about it. So what you have to do, in fact, simply, you have to do your own research. In technology front, what are the demerits if you go for it? So it's very nascent stage, because blockchain, even though we are implementing it, so it is on the nascent stage. We have to explore further. We have to see it, the outcomes where we have implemented it, what is how much it is successful. So that you have to evaluate still. And second thing is what that is the carbon footprint. So even if you are using a blockchain, it has a significant carbon footprint. So the University of Cambridge statistics, if you go through it, so 0.5% global electricity consumption is used in blockchain due to the mining process. This mining process, where more than 50% user has to validate your transaction, it's in fact time consuming. It's a complex problem you have to solve, so it takes time. It takes resources, high level of SIC they have to use. So that is the problem. And that is why now technologies like blockchain is working towards a green blockchain. So that is the proof of, instead of using proof of work, we can go for proof of stake, or you can go for polygon. These are different aspects, but still carbon footprint is there. No one can deny it. And next thing, that is the scalability. Scalability is an issue in a blockchain. For example, if you want to create a user in YouTube, or you can internet, you can add lakhs of users very in quick succession. But that cannot happen in blockchain, because what we already said, it takes some time. Even if you want to add one blockchain block in Bitcoin, it takes 10 minutes. So that is the time frame. So that time has to be maintained. This purpose is the security, but naturally it leads to some kind of security issues. So, and finally, naturally in every aspect there is some kind of intentional mischief. So we cannot deny on it. One is the money laundering, or you can say terror funding, or you can say hacking, or you can say privacy issues, because blockchain is an open world. So these are the issues that is already there. So we have to be aware about it before going through like this kind of blockchain, a kind of platform. So after this, this is my complete perspective that I have given to you about the blockchain, and I can just repeat again, it's only information. It is neither a suggestion nor an advice. So again, before ending, I will a small video again of Fevicol that I will sharing you. Just have it. So one thing is whether cryptocurrency has a future or not, it's maybe debatable, but whether blockchain has a future, yes, it has a future, and it connects us, it connects masses. That is why we are employing blockchain as a technology. And before ending, just I again apologize because of some network issues. There might be or face some kind of problem. So that is beyond my control. So that's all from my side. If you want to have any kind of question, you can have, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Actually, blockchain technology become a prerequisite for all of us to understand because we are talking about cryptocurrency. So though we are all, majority of the people are non-technology background, but you have explained in a very vivid way, in a pictorial form, in spite of network issues also, we could easily grasp it, understand it. So very nice, sir. We are very much thankful to you that you have explained. And the question and answer session will be at the end after the third speaker. So we have Mr. M.K. Srikanth, Deputy General Manager from Securities and Exchange Board of India. So sir will be talking on capital markets. So I will read out the profile of Mr. M.K. Srikanth, sir. He is Deputy General Manager. He has qualified Indian Executive Program in Applied Finance from Indian Institute of Management, Calcutta. International certification in Banking Risk and Regulation from Global Association of Risk Professionals. And he is one among first 5 Indians to obtain the certification from GARP, that is Global Association of Risk Professional, in the year 2008. He has done his master's from Sri Venkateswara University, Tirupati, India, and secured gold medal. So his role in organization in South Regional Office, Chennai, SEBI, is he is heading SEBI in Kerala and managing day-to-day functioning of Kochi local office, designated member representing SEBI in SLCC and REIC of Tamil Nadu, Kerala states. Key speaker in investor seminar programs being organized by SEBI Market Infrastructure Institutions. He heading SEBI in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. He is also nodal officer for handling investor complaints through scores from June 20 to 2012. So, in spite of his busy schedule, sir has given his time. So actually, we are very much thankful to you, sir. You have allocated some time for us. So now I give, so it is over to you, sir. Now it's your time to take the session.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Azhar. Good evening, Dr. Valli Manikya Madam, Venkata K. Yamani sir, and Professor Aman Agarwal sir, and Dr. Syed Imtiaz sir. Sir, if you can stop sharing your screen, I will start my presentation, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, Imtiaz sir. Sir, Imtiaz sir, can you stop your sharing? Yes.
Yeah. Is my presentation visible?
Yes, sir. It's visible.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're very clear.
Okay. And flow of presentation will be like, I will be making this presentation as already two speakers had elaborated on cryptocurrencies, and I am just giving an intro and major features of capital market. And the flow of presentation will be like an overview of financial market in India and different regulators, SEBI and introduction to securities market, major development and investor protection measures of SEBI, and investor grievance redressal mechanism, that is SCORES. We have separate platform called SCORES for handling investor complaints. And coming to financial sector regulators in India, we have majorly 4 financial sector regulators. One is SEBI, which regulates securities market, and secondly, RBI, Reserve Bank of India, which regulates banking, and IRDAI, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India, which regulates insurance, and PFRDA, which regulates pension funds. And coming to cryptocurrencies, as Aman sir and Syed sir had already said, it's unregulated product, and so far it has not been identified as an asset class, and also no regulator had been identified. And if there is any problem with cryptocurrencies, you will not be able to complain to anyone. And coming to any financial product, if there is any default by counterparty, if you take any securities market, there is SEBI to take care of it. And if there is any breach of contract in insurance, you can complain it to IRDAI. And if there is any problem in banking, you can complain it to RBI. But in case of cryptocurrency, as it is not legally valid currency, as well as it's not an asset class and there is no regulator for it, you cannot complain to anyone. If you are lost, you are lost only. There is no recourse for it. And coming to normal products, basically those products may be intertwined also, or if you, for example, if you are having shares of SBI, and if you are an employee of SBI and also having account with SBI, if you are having any problem with shares wherein they have not allotted you bonus shares, or they have not sent you rights application, then you cannot complain to RBI for that, just because Reserve Bank of India is regulator for banking. This particular product is about securities, and you need to complain it to securities market regulator, that is SEBI. If you are complaining it to RBI, they will again forward it to SEBI only. And meanwhile, there may be time lag and you may be wasting your time. And also, it's like whenever there is any time lag, or if you exceed the time lag, for example, if any stockbroker has been defaulted and he had been announced as a defaulter by exchanges, they will be giving you time limit of 3 to 6 months by way of press release, and also by way of issuing notices in newspapers also. And you are supposed to submit your claims, whatever claims you are having against that defaulted broker, within that specified time period. Even though if you are having all the legitimate back papers with you, and if you are not submitting the claims with the defaulter committee of that particular exchange, and going to that committee after 3 or 4 years, after lapsing the time, even though you are having all the documents with you, exchanges or SEBI will not be able to entertain you, and you will not be getting your money back because of lapse of time. So you should be knowing where to complain and also when to complain also. And coming to various investment options, as Sir had already said in his presentation, Aman sir, what are the features to be looked upon for your safety? In any investment asset class, you need to mainly look into 3 aspects. That is safety, that is possibility of not losing capital invested, liquidity, that is capacity to convert investment into cash, and return, income generated by the investment. Among the various asset classes, fixed deposits, real estate, gold, equity, and debentures, there may be a case wherein if you are investing in real estate, you may be getting more returns, but you need to check whether there is liquidity in it. Say, for example, if you are having some 50 lakhs cash with you right now, and if you think that there is no need for you for that amount for another 20 years or 30 years, generally people will think that it is like if you're investing in real estate for years together, that investment will give you bigger and unexpected returns in future, that is after 20 years or 30 years. Even if you are investing in land parcel, outskirts of city, like Hyderabad, Samshabad or something, as city expands, your general thinking is that it is like the value of that investment or the value of the land will increase. But if anything unforeseen situation happens within the family, like for example, if anyone of your family gets admitted in hospital for some issue, health issues, and you need to make payment to the hospital for surgery or something, whether you will be able to liquidate that land. Generally for liquidating land, it will take months together. That too, if it is within city and immediately sellable. And if it is outskirts and real estate market is too dull, then you will not be able to sell it, and your requirements will not be met out. And if you are not meeting out your requirements, what is the great thing by having that asset with you if it is not been helpful for you at the time of your requirement? So you need to look at the liquidity aspect also. In case of fixed deposits, if you are investing in any banks, if you are having a problem, you can liquidate it by online itself. And same thing with gold also. If you are purchasing any jewelry with any shop, if you want the money back, if you go and sell it out, they will be giving you back money within 1 or 2 hours. But the only problem with gold will be at the time of purchasing jewelry, you will be paying a GST of 3%, plus you will be making payment for making charges and other charges up to the tune of some 20 to 23%, even more than that, depending upon the design of the jewelry. And at the time of selling back to them, they will not be giving you the making charges and the GST. They will deduct that, and they will be giving you only for the weightage of the gold. And also they will deduct some commissions for taking back and giving you back the cash. If you are purchasing again jewelry by selling your old jewelry, they will give you new jewelry at the rate of whatever the rate applicable at the time. But if you want it in cash or amount to be transferred to your account, they will be charging for that also anywhere between 5 to 7%. In total, you will be losing 30% of amount, whatever you have invested. So you need to look at the liquidity, and if you look at the liquidity aspect in case of equity or debentures, listed debentures, if you are wanting to sell it, like if you're wanting to sell your equity for your requirement on Monday, your amount will be coming to you on Wednesday, T plus 2 day. So within 2 days, your account will be credited with amount, whatever the shares you are selling. So you need to look at it. Generally, in bookish knowledge, as Aman sir also said, to look at the securities and portfolio management books. In any investment management books, if you see, they will be saying that higher the tenure of the investment, higher the opportunity to gain from investment. This holds good if at all, if you are doing your homework properly, or to simply say that if you are regularly looking at what is happening to your investment. Say in case of real estate land, if you are purchasing land and not visiting that land for years together, someone else will encroach that land and they will be building a construction or something. They may construct a building or some apartment. And if you go after 15 years to get it cleared through court, in Indian judiciary, presently it is like it takes 20 to 30 years or even more than that to get the civil cases cleared from the courts. And in your lifetime, you will not be able to enjoy the fruits of your investment if at all there is any litigation happening because of these encroachments and other real estate problems. Even in case of securities also, equity also, if you are purchasing any company shares, you need to look at what is happening within that industry and specifically what is happening within that company. Even if you are purchasing Sensex shares or Nifty shares, if that particular company is not doing well and if some fraud is happening, then you need to reshuffle your portfolio and you need to reinvest that amount by taking out from that particular company by liquidating it and reinvest it in some other company. Otherwise, if you still hold it, then your investment may becoming zero also. And coming to products based on time frame and risk profile, we have given it in a pyramid shape, wherein green color indicates that these are the instruments which are safe, but it will be giving you lesser returns, like bank deposits, bonds, post office savings schemes, public provident funds, and debt funds. This will be giving you very less returns, but your capital is safe. This will be good for old age people. And in case of equity shares, mutual funds, exchange traded funds, corporate debt, this will be good for middle-aged people, wherein your capital is not safe, but when compared to bank instruments and other instruments, this will be giving you higher returns. But there is a risk of losing your capital. 100 rupees may become 60 rupees or 70 rupees also. And in case of commodities or derivatives, it is highly risky product and also highly rewarding also. It will be suitable for young people, wherein there is no dependent, or even if it is something happening to your investment, you can again earn back because you are having age and you are having job. You can recoup your investment by again planning it properly. It is not suitable for old age people and also for new people. And coming to SEBI, SEBI was formed somewhere in 1988, but without any statutory powers. It is like going on the roads wherein there is no traffic signal, there is no police and nothing like that. Only the road is there. If there is no traffic police or no signal, nobody will care for traffic regulations. Likewise, since 1988, SEBI was formed without any statutory powers to penalize the erring members. But in 1992, by way of SEBI Act, the Act was enacted in Parliament, and we have been given statutory powers to regulate the securities market. And our preamble is to protect the interest of investors, promote the development of securities market, and then to regulate the securities market. Our first and foremost preamble is to protect the interest of investors. How we protect the interest of investors? By educating them and also by giving them protection by way of enforcing the regulations and penalizing the erring intermediaries. And how we promote the development of securities market? By introducing new instruments into the system, and also regulating the securities market by way of introducing new regulations, and wherever there is a loophole, and we modify our regulations and we see to it that those regulations have been tightened enough. Coming to development of Indian securities market from 1992 till date. In 1992, SEBI was given statutory powers, and in 1994, National Stock Exchange of India Limited was established, and from the beginning, they were giving screen-based trading. We have BSE, that is Bombay Stock Exchange, which is the oldest stock exchange, not only in India, but also in Asia also. They started their operation somewhere in 1875 officially, and unofficially even prior to 1875. And also so many regional stock exchanges were there prior to 1994, wherein they are all giving you trading option of trading with open outcry system. That is, if you want to purchase any share, you need to go to that particular stock exchange, and your stockbroker should be physically present in the trading hall, and they need to do trading there. And in 1994, National Stock Exchange of India came into existence, and they started providing screen-based trading, wherein you can trade at your convenience, at your home or in your office, or while traveling also, by having mobile, laptop or something like that. So it had eased the trading options. And in 1996, we have introduced dematerialization, that is conversion of physical shares into electronic form. This dematerialization enabled easy transfer of shares and also holding of shares, which is easy than having a physical share certificate with you. If think that it is like in olden days, prior to 1996 or 1992 or something like that, when there was no proper courier systems, if you are transferring your share, then it should go through postal department, and we never know how many days it will take to transfer. Means like you need to send your shares to the company will send it to RTA, register and transfer agent, and there they will change the ownership, and then they will send back to the company, and then they will be sending back to investor. So it is a cumbersome process. Thereby, they may take anywhere between 2 to 3 months. But in demat form, in one single day, everything will be done. And in 2000, we have introduced index derivatives. And in 2003, we have reduced the settlement cycle to T+2. Prior to 2003, before we introduced the rolling settlement system, there was carry forward system wherein settlements used to happen every 15 days once. Even in that 15 days once also, if any counterparty like seller says that he is not having his shares right away and he is willing to make the penalty amount and carry forward that settlement to next settlement cycle, then he can pay that penalty amount to the exchange and he can carry forward that settlement to next settlement cycle, that is for another 15 days. So without your fault, your shares will be coming to you after 30 days. So we have introduced this rolling settlement system wherein there is no concept of carry forward this settlement system. If at all anyone, buyer is not able to pay the amount or seller is not able to settle the shares, shares will go for auction on T+2 day. If at all both are giving their money and shares, it will get settled on T+2. And if anyone is not settling it on T+2, it will be going for auction on T+2 day in the afternoon. And in T+3, your settlement will be happening. If at all if you are buying shares, you'll be getting your shares. If you have sold your shares, you'll be getting back your money on T+3 through auction. And in 2008, we have introduced currency derivatives. And in 2013, we have made minimum public shareholding mandatory for all the companies. That is like minimum public shareholding should be 25%. Earlier, there was exception for public sector undertakings, that is government companies, which are listed on stock exchanges, and also for infrastructure companies and information technology, IT companies. But as in the beginning slides, we have said that there should be liquidity. If they are having 10% and if they have been allowed without 25%, even within the 10%, there will be high net worth individuals wherein they will be holding shares for generations together. If at all those high net worth individuals are holding some 5 to 6%, then effectively for public trading, there will be only 3 to 4%. There will not be any liquidity. So we said that irrespective of whether it is public sector undertaking or information technology, that is sunrise sectors, information technology and infrastructure companies, irrespective of those industries, everyone should be now having 25% minimum public shareholding so that there will be liquidity. And in 2014, we have been given enhanced enforcement powers. Like I said in the beginning, in 1988, SEBI was formed without any statutory powers. In 1992, by way of an act, we have been given statutory powers wherein we can penalize the erring member. But maximum penalty which we can penalize is only 1 crore. And if at all that 1 crore is not been paid by that erring member or intermediary, we cannot arrest them or we cannot do any other thing other than reminding them by way of another show cause notice or issuing the letters. But in 2014, we have been given enforcement powers also, wherein if they are not making the payment, we can search and seize their property like Income Tax Act. We can make them arrested, and while seizing the property, we can auction that property also, and we can take back that amount, whatever the penalty we are levying on them. Whatever penalty we are levying on them, that is not being taken by SEBI. Whatever penalty we are taking out from that erring member, we credit that amount, that penalty amount to Consolidated India Fund account, which is been maintained with Central Government of India. And also here, after 2014, the penalty which we can levy on erring member can be a maximum up to 25 crore or 3 times more than illegal gains which they have made. For example, if a company or if any promoter makes an illegal gain of 75 crores, then we can levy 3 times of that 75 crores or 25 crores, whichever is higher. So in this case, it will be 75 crores into 3 times means 225 crores. Earlier, it is only 1 crore in 1992, irrespective of magnitude of the crime done by the erring member. But now it is 3 times higher than the illegal gains made by them. Likewise, in 2014, we have revised our corporate governance norms. Earlier, corporate governance is a requirement by way of listing agreement between exchanges and companies. But now we have ICDR regulations itself, wherein we have made it mandatory and it is legally enforceable also now. And we have revised our corporate governance norms to say who will be treated as non-executive chairman and who will be treated as executive chairman. Earlier, there was a loophole wherein it is like even promoters, they classify themselves as non-executive chairman. If they classify themselves as non-executive chairman, then independent directors on the board can be 1/3 instead of half of the board. Just to circumvent our regulations, they used to say that promoter himself is a non-executive chairman. There were classic cases wherein big shots, they have been classifying themselves as non-executive chairman. Non-executive chairman means like day-to-day operations should not be handled by them. They are there for only board meetings or some other thing. But being a promoter and who is looking after day-to-day activities of the company, how can he classify himself as a non-executive chairman? So we said that promoters cannot be treated as non-executive chairman, and we have set down certain criteria that who can be non-executive chairman, who cannot be non-executive chairman. Likewise, who can be nominee director from the banks or financial institutions, and who cannot be treated as independent directors. And in 2014, we have given exit route for non-operational stock exchanges. Like I said in the beginning, there were exchanges, regional stock exchanges, which were very old exchanges than National Stock Exchange of India Limited. They were there from 1950s, 1960s also, prior to SEBI coming into existence. But then they are all catering to the companies which are locally located, that is within that state. But after 1994, NSE had started a screen-based trading system. By looking at NSE, Bombay Stock Exchange also started screen-based trading system, wherein they have nationwide presence. When you are having a nationwide presence, no company will be restricting themselves to a particular state. So most of the companies had migrated to national level exchanges like NSE, BSE, and MSE. So these regional stock exchanges, which were operating earlier for local companies, they were not having trading and they are not having operative income. They are running into losses by way of making payment to employees and other standard operational costs like rental of building, electricity, and everything. So we have given them exit route by saying that it's like whatever leftover companies on your exchanges, they can get their shares listed on any national level exchanges and your operations can be shut down. By availing this opportunity, almost all regional stock exchanges had shut down its operations. Earlier, we had Hyderabad Stock Exchange, we had the Bangalore Stock Exchange, we had Cochin Stock Exchange, we had the Madras Stock Exchange, and we had Coimbatore Stock Exchange. All these exchanges shut down their operations and they were now part of either NSE or BSE as a stockbroker. And in 2015, Forward Markets Commission merged with SEBI. It's like Forward Market Commission is a regulatory agency which was regulating commodities market, and prior to 2015, commodities market is not part of securities market and is not being regulated by SEBI. Forward Market Commission used to regulate commodities market, but due to scam in 2014 by National Spot Exchange Limited, not National Stock Exchange of India, but National Spot Exchange, wherein 4,000 crores have been involved in the scam. Government thought that FMC is unable to regulate commodities market, and they merged FMC with SEBI, and they made commodities market also part of securities market, and they amended Securities Contract Regulation Act by including commodities as securities. Now, earlier, some few months back, there was newspaper items and there was news items wherein they were saying that cryptocurrencies, if at all being allowed, they would be regulated by SEBI. That was the news item. It's like if at all cryptocurrencies were allowed to trade legally, then that should be by way of an act wherein cryptocurrencies should be classified as a security and then it should be regulated by SEBI. Then SEBI will be regulating that cryptocurrencies market also. As of now, it is unregulated and SEBI is not regulator for cryptocurrencies. And in 2016, we have established an institute called National Institute of Securities Market, wherein This institute will be giving training programs for all the intermediaries as well as to our students and majority of the public, wherein they offer certification courses. They offer even MBA programs also. And the main purpose of National Institute of Securities Market is to educate people, including SEBI officials also, and also market intermediaries, wherein they will be giving training in securities markets. And coming to recent developments, SEBI had set up some investor charters, wherein SEBI published its investor charter on November 17, 2021, which includes the rights and responsibilities of investors and do's and don'ts of investing in securities market. Investor charter of SEBI registered intermediaries. This is like what is your right and what is not your right, and what you can do and what you cannot do. By looking at this charters, it's like if at all intermediary is not performing his duty, SEBI also publishes status report on investor grievances on Scores portal, and they will take them for task and they will be penalized. And all SEBI regulated entities should be having their charters and the time taken for redressing the investor grievances, and all those details will be kept from the website from January 2022, which they are doing now. And this is the Sati app, which SEBI had introduced somewhere in January 19, 2022 recently. And this app is available both in Hindi and English. If you go and register or log in, and if you download it on your Apple phone or even in other Android phones, if you log in, you can get the details of entire details of securities market. Screen page will show it as something like know about securities market, and if you click on that app, then it will be giving details about securities market. And also there will be an icon called how to invest. If you click on that, it will give you step by step how to invest in securities market. And if you click on another icon, have a query or complaint, it will take you to Scores portal, wherein you can complain if you have a complaint against any SEBI registered intermediary. And there will be an icon called SEBI resources. If you click on that, whatever the developments happening in SEBI, those details will be coming there. And there will be another icon called know about SEBI. If you click on that, you can know what are all happenings in SEBI and about the board structure, and other employee details also will be coming on there. And if you click on another icon called contact SEBI, you will be getting all the details of SEBI offices, wherein we have 4 regional offices. Their contact details will be there, and we have more than 20 local offices in each state. All those contact address as well as phone numbers will be available. If you have any queries or something, you can call them directly. And coming to cryptocurrencies, as already Sir Aman sir had given detailed explanation about it, it's currently unregulated in India. And if at all, if you deal with any cryptocurrency, either Bitcoin or any other currency which is famous like Ethereum and all, if you have any issues, you cannot complain to any regulator in India. Not only SEBI, you cannot complain to any regulator. Better avoid those type of things wherein there is no specific regulator to that particular sector. It may be luring you, there may be advertisements, or there may be, we have seen full page newspaper advertisements wherein some exchanges which are dealing with cryptocurrencies, they are advertising something like they made huge profits, and there may be hereby say, and particularly in IT sector, people, they say that they had earned this much of amount by investing in Bitcoin or investing in another cryptocurrency. But it's like if at all something goes wrong, if they don't make the payment, the other counterparty doesn't make payment to you when you are selling or when you are buying, if it is not coming to your account, those coins, cryptocurrencies, then to whom you will be complaining? If it is like equity, you will complain to SEBI, and SEBI will make it good. Even if a stockbroker defaults, even if it's been announced as a defaulter, there is investor protection fund wherein exchange steps in, exchanges clearing the corporation steps in, and they will make the default good to the extent of whatever the limits they are having. For example, National Stock Exchange of India, they are having limit of 25 lakhs per client. Within your family, if you are dealing as a separate client, like you, your husband, and your kids, 3 accounts, then each account will be classified as separate account, and for each account you will be having 25 lakh limit for accounts. Totally you will be get 75 lakhs if you are having up to 1 crore in each this thing. But if you are having a default amount or something like your broker defaulted you for 10 lakhs, in A account, and in B account 30 lakhs, in C account some 40 lakhs, then in A account you will be getting entire amount, and in B account you will be getting 25 lakhs instead of 30 lakhs, and in C account instead of 40 lakhs you will be getting 25. At least you will be getting this much of amount. Even in case of banks, there is earlier a limit of 1 lakh. If bank gets bankrupt or something, you will be getting that amount through DCGC, wherein 1 lakh will be assured. But now they had increased it to 5 lakhs, whatever amount if there is any default by bank. But in case of cryptocurrency, if anyone defaults, you will not be getting any single pie also. Instead of getting that, you will be name shamed, because it's like you would have been boasted of by saying that you had invested in this and you are gaining this much of thing. And when it goes busted, you cannot even tell it to your friends that you have been cheated. Then they will laugh at you. All these risks are there in case of investing in cryptocurrency. So be careful in investing these type of assets wherein it is not an asset class itself, and also there is no regulator. Coming to investor grievance redressal, as I said in the beginning, complaints can be filed on scores. Earlier, we don't have this scores portal prior to 2011. Whomsoever is complaining against any intermediary, they used to make a complaint by way of physical complaint or through mail. Whenever you want to check it after a set of time like 6 months or 7 months, we need to check in the files. There is no centralized database for that complaints. But we have set up this scores portal in June 8, 2011, which is called as SEBI Complaints Redressal System. And it is an investor-friendly and centralized web-based complaint system wherein all the complaints across country, whatever complaints we are getting it is been maintained as a central database. And whenever we want to retrieve, we can retrieve it by way of clicking it. And the URL for it is scores.gov.in. And it's like it facilitates online movement of complaint. See, it's like how it works is like if you go and log into scores portal, it will be asking you to register. And if you go and register with your mobile number or with your mail ID, your password and login details will be coming to your mail ID. Or if you have given your mobile number, it will be coming to you as by way of SMS. And by way checking the SMS, if you log in and register yourself with your minimum details like your name, PAN number, or any other identification number, for dealing in securities market, even for 1 single rupee, PAN is mandatory. And if you give your minimum details, you can log in and you can complain against any registered intermediaries. For example, if you're having a complaint against broker A, if you are complaining it to complaining in scores portal, saying that he had been defaulted you this much of amount or he is delaying your payment, then SEBI will be forwarding that complaint to concerned stock exchange where you have traded, and that concerned stock exchange, either NSE or BSE, they will be forwarding it to concerned stock broker A, and they will seek details and they will see that complaint has been resolved. And all these steps should be over within 30 days, and your complaint should be redressed within 30 days. And sometimes there may be a situation wherein it goes beyond 30 days because you may be saying that they are not done properly and they have done unauthorized transactions. But stockbroker may be giving reply to the stock exchange stating that they have done all the transactions based on your request and based on your specific inputs only. Then they will call for a meeting between you and stockbroker. They will arrange for a meeting and they will conduct investor grievance meeting. And in that meeting, they will be looking at the proofs which you people will be submitting. Either investor submits some details and stockbroker submits the details. Then they will look at the details and they will pass an order. So for this, it may be taking some more time, but in most of the cases, we ensure that complaints are being resolved within 30 days. And this is the information help desk of SEBI. It's like you can check investor.sebi.gov.in website, or you can call toll-free numbers anytime between 9:30 to 5:30 from Monday to Friday, 1800-227575 and 1800-266-7575. Sometimes you may be getting lines are busy because of these two numbers are there only for toll-free numbers available across country. In those cases, if you have any generic queries, you can send mail to asksebi@sebi.gov.in and our people will be responding to that queries. And if at all, if you want to specifically meet concerned office people, you can visit in any of these 20 local offices which have been mentioned in our website as well as on the SATI website. And if you have any general queries or any other queries, you can directly write to me also at srikanth@sebi.gov.in. I will be responding within a single day. If at all portal is not working, it may be delay of 1 or 2 days, not more than 2 days. And these are the certification courses being offered by NISM. That is, NISM offers 26 certifications. NCFM, this is the certification courses offered by National Stock Exchange of India Limited. They offer some 37 courses, and BSc offers more than 50 courses. And MCX, they offer their flagship program, MCX Certified Commodity Professional, MCCP. And all these will be useful. And there are certain mandatory certificatory requirements if you want to get into securities market and operational as a trading member or as a depository participant. There is a minimum certification required wherein you need to pass this NISM certificate or NCFM certificate. Even for registered independent, if you want to be as a research analyst or investment advisor, you need to pass certain certification courses from NISM. So if you have been planning for career in securities market, these courses will be helpful for you in future. And consistency, whatever you do, there should be some consistency in doing it. And sometimes the race is not won by the fastest runner, but by the one who just keeps running. This is like a tortoise and a rabbit story. And whatever you are doing, you need to know the importance of smaller steps, and you should love it. See the picture wherein left-hand ladder, the person uses small distinct steps and he reaches the greater heights. But the other side, right-hand side, that guy is thinking always high, but not doing anything because he is not able to put the first step itself. He is in the ground itself. Even though he aims high, he is not taking steps. But the other person, step by step, he reached greater heights. That is the importance of smaller steps. And in our career or in our studies also, we should start. Just thinking is not going to take you anywhere. You need to start, whether small or big, you need to start and you need to start doing it consistently. And if you have any doubts, please open for question and answer. We'll open your queries. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for your presentation. Parallelly, legal aspects are also important. People should know the structure of capital market. So very clearly, you have beautifully explained about the capital market and the regulatory system. So before we go to the question and answer sessions, I would like to present a small memento as a token of respect to, first of all, I would present this token to our Professor Aman Agarwal ji. We will be posting you. And then we also have another to our DGM Sahab, Shri Shrikant sir.
Sir, I am student of your ASCI.
Oh, sir. Thank you, sir. So, as a token of respect, love, and affection, and we also have a memento to our Sayyid Imtiaz sir. So, I thank you all. You have spared your valuable time in this session. So now we'll go for any Q&A session very quickly. So, sir, I think you have a session at Professor Ji, Agarwal ji, sir.
Yes, I have to actually go live on a television. That's what they were calling me. If you can give me 5 minutes to respond to some of the questions. I read chat box.
Yes. Yes, sir.
1 or 2 of them were repetitive. In any case, most of them were talking about the taxation framework, which has been imposed in the union budget. Please understand, firstly, not only did I clarify in my 15 hours interview on 1st of February multiple times, even the Honorable Finance Minister on the 2nd of February has clarified in newspapers in her interviews, clearly stating the fact that the 30% taxation is on virtual assets. It is not on cryptocurrencies. So it's on virtual assets, which is clearly mentioned in the budget. So one must not confuse virtual assets with cryptocurrencies. First of all, cryptocurrencies do fall within the framework of virtual assets, as I've explained, but that is not the cryptocurrencies, firstly. Secondly, the 30% tax is only when you declare. Unlike like my colleague from SEBI and others, unlike securities which are already being traded and those which are on the exchanges where 1% TDS would be levied, since these are traded, exchange traded, but rest of them,
cannot be come to be known who is holding what kind of an asset. And then even that person can always claim that this asset actually is held in a US cloud or in a US framework or a German framework or a Netherlands framework, and hence it is not legible on India. Now, so the tax is only when you are about to go and sell and it comes to the notification that 30% tax coming into framework. The real fate of the cryptocurrencies will be known only after the bill which is tabled by Piyush Goyal on cryptocurrency bill, a decision on that is taken. Unfortunately, I could not get hand on to the draft copy of the bill. Generally, it is circulated, but I could not get hand on the draft copy. So I have no idea of what is being proposed in the cryptocurrency bill. So that cannot be known, but certainly the way the government moved and the government officers, including the Honorable Finance Minister, has spoken, that is, first of all, not a legitimate it's not a legal tender. Secondly, it is not something you should trade in, doesn't have underlying asset. I think multiple officers from the government offices have come and said that should be clear enough for people at large to understand that it is not something they want to indulge into. However, people are list loving. People love to do all kinds of things in this country. I know people who have come to case studies where one man is married to 18, 19 women, whereas the law of the land only allows one woman to be married to. So, so people do all kinds of activities. You drink and drive, which is not allowed. So, you bear the consequences accordingly. So that is something we have to do. Second thing which you have talked about is is there a value? There is no value, then there is taxation, correct. The government has also clarified that just because we have levied tax doesn't make it a legitimate activity or a business or a valuation-based activity. So that they have also clarified. Taxing is only to discourage people, and that was one reason why this bill was not tabled also, because there were estimates that a large amount of people, small investors, students, teachers, risk-averse people have actually invested in this particular commodity called the virtual currencies or virtual cryptocurrencies, and they do not know what is expected to happen. So to give them a little more time, although for last 4 years they have been speaking, but to give them further notification that they should withdraw, a specified time has been granted, and I think we would see the fate come in future. Last question which was there was, is it going to be legalized in India? I don't say, at least that's not what we are proposing and what we have proposed. And that's what not the mood comes out. But the rest, the regulators only know what do they want to decide on in terms of going for the fate. As I said, the cryptocurrency bill will decide the fate of the crypto products in particular. EFTs and others will start falling in. As of now, the accounting, the ICAI has not taken a call on virtual assets. But if they take, and if the government takes virtual assets seriously, she has opened the ambit of plethora of Pandora box, as we say, by using the word virtual asset, because virtual asset includes, as I identified, goodwill, ETFs, painting, skills, influencers, everything in the ambit. And so it's a huge segment. And if it does, then you can understand what kind of taxation framework we are looking at. Lastly, Sri Lanka and India, I think it's nothing to do with the question. India is much better. There is no course of action which can compare Sri Lanka with India. India is in a much better position, wherein we can clearly see the fact that India has 9% growth, $650 billion as foreign exchange reserves, roughly $55 billion reserves as given as loans to neighboring countries, roughly about $700 billion reserves, 42 to 45 billion in portfolio investments have come last year. India's GDP is the highest growing in the world. Our M3 is very much under control. Our inflation is very much under control. You talk of the investment, foreign direct investment, reinvestment, everything is fairly stable. And in terms of the GST collections, also the revenue collections of the government, they're also stable. So there is no reason to even think about anything of Sri Lanka coming into India or being there. Certainly inflation is a worry. And I hope the government takes this petrol business seriously, because as I pointed out in my earlier interviews, all petrol companies, all 6 petrol companies, their profit plus their depreciation reserves is about 84,000 crores till December 2021. So that means 9-month performance. And that makes it, even if they have 15, 20,000 loss in the last 2 months, they are still in the positive side of their balance sheet. So there is no reason for oil prices to go up. even the oil pool account, which was suggested by us way back in 1989-91, when N.D. Tiwari introduced, as finance minister, introduced that has about 5.5 lakh crore, which is meant for securing the domestic prices not rising. Apart from that, also we see that the taxes which are there can be reduced and GST introduction can be there. So all those things can be resolved and inflation can be brought under control. So this is not a worry. It's a question of government's will to take forward and the minister being rightly informed, because the minister will only do whatever the chairmen of these companies inform. These companies are public sector undertakings. They are not meant for profit. If their profit is having a small dent, which all companies have, they must learn to take care of it and move forward with it. That is all which I would like to say. And I will request, I'm sorry, Mr. Srinath and Muhammad Ali, I would like to take your leave a little early just now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Namaskar.
It's a pleasure to attend your session, sir. And someone, Kannabiran or someone is asking whether there are any certificate courses to learn for commerce faculty people. It's like if you see our website itself, whatever the departments, department-wise, we had given FAQs, wherein you can learn about each product or each department. We have given elaborated FAQs, whatever queries will be there and all, and it will be more than sufficient to learn. Or even if you see the BSc and NSc websites, they are given in detail about each products and all. And certifications, those will be useful for students for their career purpose. And as I mentioned in my presentation, NCFM and NISM certificates. In those things, we have mandatory certificates, and a few are there for career oriented as well as for academic. This thing you can go through those programs and you can attend it. All are short-term online courses only. You can write that exam online at your own will.
Thank you,
Thank
sir. So I wholeheartedly thank Professor Dr. Aman Agarwal ji, because he will be not in the my vote of thanks. So I am thanking you, sir, on behalf of ASCI management and on myself and on the participant side. We are very much thankful to you, sir, for your presentation. We have learned a lot regarding cryptocurrencies, and we have also got a new terminology that you have defined cryptocurrency as crypto products. So ultimately, we got some enlightenment. So we expect more and more sessions from you, sir, so that we can have a good knowledge about finance and also cryptocurrency. So thank you, sir. Now, before that, any other questions? So we have 3 panelists here. We have Syed Imtiaz Hassan Saab, we have Shrikant Garu, and also Professor Aman Agarwal ji has already taken the questions. So any questions very specific to both the panelists, so we can take up. So what is the role of Indian digital currency? One question we have. Obviously, it was very well explained by Agarwal sir.
That Aman sir, and it's like it's not been introduced, and if at all introduced, either RBI or SEBI will be regulating it, and we will see it. Sir, as of now, virtual assets are not coming under SEBI. Once if it comes, then there will be proper regulations. Then we will come to know how SEBI will be regulating. Now it's like without having proper regulations in place, or hypothetically, we cannot say that how SEBI will be regulating virtual assets.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Any other questions? So, Syed Imtiaz Hassan Saab.
Someone is asking, are cryptocurrencies used for illegal purpose? What do you mean by illegal purpose? Illegal purpose, is it like using black money type of thing, or without knowing source of funds? That is the main concern wherein RBI and the finance ministry is saying that, as we will not be knowing who will be the actual guy behind it. So it is not permissible to legalize it. That is the main concern, along with other concerns.
Yes, thank you, sir. Very nice. Any, yeah.
After few years, cryptocurrency, we don't know.
Okay. So Dr. Syed Imtiaz Sahab, as a token of respect, love, we are giving you this memento. I will be handing over you personally or by through post.
Okay,
Anyhow, I'm in Hyderabad only. Thank you.
Okay.
So we were very much delighted by your all the lectures, sir.
Thank you.
Sir,
Thanks
shall
a
we wind up the session now? So I will try to propose a vote of thanks now.
Yeah.
Please.
So we have taken up all the questions. And dear participants, I have pasted the feedback link in the chat box. All of you, please don't forget to give the feedback, because your certificates are associated with the feedback link, because it will be automatically generated. So all of you, please fill the feedback. So now it's the time for vote of thanks. Honorable dignitaries, my learned colleagues, today's participants, press media, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to one and all. I consider it great privilege to propose vote of thanks to all the dignitaries who have witnessed it, a memorable and successful event. I, on behalf of management and the entire fraternity of ASCI family, extends a very hearty vote of thanks to the keynote speaker of the function for his valuable speech, for his precious time and gracing the occasion. So first of all, I must mention our deep sense of appreciation for Professor Aman Agarwal ji for his very in-depth explanation about the topic. And also we are very much grateful to Dr. Syed Imtiaz Hasan, who has touched upon the blockchain technology, and he has very clearly explained the technology in the non-technology form, so that the non-technology people can also easily understand. So we are very much thankful to you, sir. I'm also very much enthusiastic in expressing gratitude to Shri Shrikant sir, DGM of SEBI, who has focused on the legal aspects and also the regulatory aspect. And also he has touched upon the bodies for which we have to consult in case of any problem or any issues. So we are very much thankful to you, sir. And also I take this opportunity to express our sincere thanks to our chairman, Sri Padmanabhai Agaru, and DG Nirmalaya Bagchi, the dynamic personalities in all academic matters, for permitting us to conduct this occasion. I express my deep opportunity, and I take this opportunity to express our sincere thanks to our Dean of Training Program, Dr. Vali Manikyam ma'am, for her moral support and guidance. Thank you, ma'am. And I also express my deep gratitude to our respected colleagues, Dr. Karnak, Mr. Venkat Krishna Imani, Mr. Bijan, Tanushri Chakraborty, and all other faculties of CMS and ASCI, and learned colleagues of CMS for their moral support and guidance. I express my profound gratefulness to Ms. Katyani ma'am, Computer Center head, and also her staff, who were most instrumental in this webinar. So, and I thank all the staff of ASCI who has really helped in organizing this event and making this event successfully. So an event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling weeks ago. It requires planning and bird's eye for details. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated colleagues who know their job and result oriented. I extend my thanks to my colleagues of ASCI for their enormous cooperation. And also I am thankful for the wonderful participants who have turned up from different parts of the country and also from other countries and become the single symbol of unity in diversity. So my thanks also to the members of print and electronic media who have always cooperated to attend our programs and give the wider coverage. So by this, I take it as an opportunity, and I thank one and all again for this event. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir.